And we're live. Hello, everybody. And I screwed up.
Uh-oh.
I forgot one simple thing. I forgot to hook up the doll. No, I forgot to update Restream. So it looks like we're playing Minecraft. So I have to go to Twitch right now and change our game. That's what I get for having two loves of my life. This is great. Best day
that happened
ever.
with the that
having
happened with
two
the
loves of my life.
flight
This is
stream.
great. Best day
That happened
ever.
with the that happened with the
Oh gosh, it did change it automatically here though. That's good. Okay.
All
All right. All right. This is good. This is good. At least Twitch. Twitch changes it. All right. All right. This is good. Minecraft. Good. At least Twitch. Twitch changes it. All right. All right. This is good. Minecraft. Very heavy echo.
Ow. The hell was that like? Inception stuff going on there.
Wait, they're saying that we have a heavy echo.
We did, yeah. There was like triple echo going on for a little while.
Okay, that was a little weird.
It's gone. It's gone. Going on for a little while. And it's back.
Okay, that was a little. Oh, I know what it is.
It's gone. It's gone.
Hold on.
And it's back.
Twitch is broadcasting, and I'm taking the entire. That's awesome. All right. Wee. All right. Yeah, let's hear it for Twitchiness. All right. Since I'm the only one recording, I don't have to worry too much about doing a 3, 2, 1. So okay, so at least that's updated. It sucks that I can't do this on Facebook. That sucks. But you know what? Screw it. We're gonna go. Hey, there's Bama. We've got Jake.
Does this for a living.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, so we've got the show pretty well. I mean, we're just not going to... You know what? I'm going to take a few seconds. Let's see if that updated Facebook, too, here, because that would be nice. Share to a group. All right, I will edit that post. Hold on. I can do this. I can do this. This is okay. This is why we start on time. Call in show. Join us to review 2021. 2921. Oh dear.
Yeah, we're going to the future. It's gonna be terrifying.
Wizards will still be there though. They're making money.
Hey, Modern Horizon 79.
To our Discord at discord.discord. Wow, it is hard to type on an iPhone occasionally.
Which cord? Discord.
Planes talker. Paycanes? Wow. Talkers.
Oh man.
Yes, I feel awesome. Said nobody ever. Planes Talkers podcast. Hey, these things can happen.
Uh-huh.
At least I discovered it, while countdown. I thought about stopping the whole thing, but then I'd have to go through all the Discords and put myself back in. So,
True.
So I was like, nope. Well, let's not do that.
True that.
All right. I'm going to hit share to a group, find our magic groups.
Doopy doopy doo.
Right. Rochester players, commander. You know what? I'm gonna do everybody except the marketplaces. They tend to not like it when I do that. And
what's this handy dandy little red box I have on there? What does this mean?
What's a red box? You have a red box? A red button? I love red buttons.
I have a notification on it's just Dropbox notifications.
And
fascinating.
Magic. Kerwin's. Bonds. And now I feel okay sending it to flights. So I do.
You saw somebody open a pack fresh Sliver Queen.
I saw that. I was like, oh. Yeah.
That hurt my soul.
All right. Now we're all shared out. Okay. This is good.
Yay.
Okay. So if we're ready to start the show, which now we should be, anything else to go over? We've got a bunch of people in our chats. We're going to be bringing the hosts of Cantrip Cartel up to the stage, so we're going to share it with them. let's do that. Yeah, let's do a little housekeeping. Actually, I'll do it at the beginning too. But here's the thing: if we're bringing you in, what'll happen is, I will choose you. I will right-click your name, and then you'll get a notification, and probably a green bar at the top that says, "Hey, join us." So, and you say join us, and here we go. You do need to have a mic. You will not be on camera, luckily, which is good for many of us. And all right. So with that being said, I'm going to open my recording app. Oh, and I probably should say that bear in mind, folks, you are being recorded for posterity. Let's keep it positive. Let's keep it upbeat. Obviously, criticism is allowed and encouraged because, let's face it, Wizards needs it a bit. But, try to keep it, upbeat and cool. All right. And yes, we are giving away to those participating tonight. If you stay to the end, we'll have a drawing for a
thing.
No, I told him what it is.
Oh, okay.
The Midnight Hunt Collector Booster. So it's sealed, still in Wizards wrapping. We can only ship U.S. though. So if you're outside the U.S., then we're going to say a hearty thank you. And just, so that there's no hiding, patrons are going to get a little bump on that tonight. So if there are patrons participating, they get a little extra. Okay. You feeling good, brother?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do this thing then. I'm going to open my mix pad, which is what I use to record. And I guess I don't need a countdown, so we're doing this. So go silent, and then I'll start the music. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the Planestalkers Podcast, a show by casuals for casuals. I'm your host, Will Benson, joined as always by it's our episode 125 call-in show, but we're really at episode 123 co-host, Hermes Perez. Hermes, how are you, sir?
I see people. Why are there people?
We're doing a special thingy tonight, dude. We've invited guests to our show, and this is great because I can't hear the music. For some reason. So this,
I can hear it.
I know you guys can hear it. I cannot. And now I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to try to do this again because, oh dear, this is going to end horribly. This is great. You guys will have all the music and I won't. This is not going to end well. That's okay, though.
He's a professional broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Yeah, I do this for, 2 or 3 livings, I guess. Oh shit. This is just so frustrating.
Woo, train wreck.
Yeah, right.
Who likes a train wreck? I like train wreck.
I can make it so that the stereo output goes into my head, but then I'm going to hear myself. And it's like, oh, that sounds even worse. So yeah, hold on a second.
Do the best you can.
Yeah, I'm doing it. It'll be fine. I'm sure there'll be no problems. But we are a podcast, and we might as well get into... Oh, God, I can't hear Untap, Up, Keep, and Draw. All right, Untap, Up, Keep, and Draw. See, now I have to pretend like I can hear it. Before we begin, we'd like to remind you that this episode and every episode of the Planestalkers podcast is sponsored by Kerwin's Game Store. Kerwin's Game Store is New York State's premier source for collectible card games, tabletop games, miniatures, comic books, retro video games, and toys. With their clean, open gaming areas available to everyone at no charge, Kerwin's provides a fun and inviting atmosphere for new and experienced gamers alike. They have an awesome website. It is KGS, that is KiteGoSamuelOnline.com. Our promo code there for 5% off is Planestalkers. You use that at checkout. And don't forget, they have physical locations in both Catskill, New York, and in Poughkeepsie, New York at the Poughkeepsie Galleria. We also want to take right now to recognize our rare level and above patrons. That would be Steve, Spencer, Chiba Tank, New York Gamer VJ, Bell, Josh, Jonathan, George, David, Anthony, Levi, Dragon D's Nuts, and our newest rare patron, Apollo. Woo! We also want to shout out our mythic rare patron, Jake and Jonathan, and we also cannot forget our producer level patron, Jamie. We are so thankful for everything you guys do. Not going to join the call, not feeling too good, having pains. Oh, dude, Anthony. Well, that sucks. We want to just stay, get better, dude. We are so appreciative to these guys. Patrons, it's weird. We started off, they used to get a little bit more, but as time has gone on, because of how we do the Winnabox now, which is why tonight, as part of our call-in show, any patron who joins and stays to the end, active patron's going to be entered twice for the drawing for the Winnabox. So, but the one thing they all get is the chance to play with us on our Wednesday show, Commander Craft. So to join up, to see what you can get, and just really to help the show. We couldn't do the show without you guys. Patreon.com/Planestalkers. Don't forget that Commander Craft is our Wednesday night show where we play listeners like yourselves using webcams and 4-person Commander. We had a great show last week. We did it in person at Flights. So that's a very exciting thing. For more information on that, I'll have a website for you guys at some point. I've been working on it. And this is an interesting announcement. So we have a new announcement. Usually this is where we would announce being the flagship pod. So I'll do that. We are the flagship podcast of the Planestalkers network of podcasts. Our sister show, Cantrip Cartel, has launched. They're on Anchor, anchor.fm/Cantrip Cartel. And you can download them on most podcatchers. Hit them up on our Discord. They have this really great area all to themselves. Those guys are in charge, and they've got a really nice community in there as well. You can find that at discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. But I'm very, very excited to announce that we have been invited today. So I don't have all the info yet. But since I was announced on their Discord, I'm just going to go and say we are also proud to be a part of the Geek to Geek Media Network. This is a great network of podcasts. They do a lot with gaming. If you're into Switch games and computer games, they're just incredibly cool. They're very positive. They're very, very upbeat. I highly, highly recommend, you guys check it out. There's a lot on there. I got through that Mating Habits of the Modern Geek podcast. That's how I found them. Our buddy Bama's from there. So we've already,
hello.
Yes. So we already have, Geek to Geek people here. It just makes sense. You can find out more about their stuff at geektogeekmedia.com. That's geek, T-O, geek, not the number. So definitely hope you guys dig that. That's going to bring a lot of fun stuff to the show. But before we do that, we're still in Untapped, and I haven't untapped in a while. I've been really good. But it's the Colin show. So, and it's my birthday week, so I'm going to be having an IPA. I am drinking, first of all, it's funny. It's called Clown Shoes, which if you know me for 6 seconds, you'll know I hate clowns. I abhor
There's
clowns.
one right behind you.
Okay. Don't do that, man. And Clown Shoes, and then I am drinking tonight a Space Cake, because it's my birthday week, Space Cake Double IPA.
Who comes up with these names?
I love it, dude. I love craft beers just for the naming. So, but before I even take a sip of this, I need to say this. Aramis, my friend, my colleague, how the hell are you?
Happy Chris Mahana Kwanzaa to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Covering all the holiday bases.
You forgot my birthday, though, you jerk.
I said happy birthday, you jerk. I said your Facebook thing. It was happy birthmas or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fucking with you.
I'm doing great. Holiday went really well. Had some family over. I have a 7-year-old, so it's all about him, all about stuff from Santa. He was very, very pleased with what Santa brought him this year. He's at peak Santa believing age.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's awesome to see it. So we had a really, really great time. Just otherwise, things are just going fantastic. How about
same here. We had a great week. We had the kids. They came over Christmas Eve. They went back to their dad's because their dad is a 4-year-old. So it's like, okay, you guys should wake up with your sister over there. Which, at first I was like, oh, that means we never have them Christmas morning. But our kids are all older teenagers now. And I can't help thinking to myself, being in my late 40s, I kind of like not getting up. So I'm okay with sending them there. You know what? Let the kid wake them up. That's amazing. So we had a good day. It was a good birthday. We actually, because of the ice storm that they were calling for, we did things a little different. We went to Wendy's parents' house after we had dinner and opened presents here. We then went over there and opened some presents over there. I got a lot of magic as far as bundles. I got 2 complete bundles. I got Crimson Vow bundles, and one of them was collector. I know. I'm not going to not open a Christmas gift and pay you with it. But I got by invitation only. So that was I was like, that's like the chase card, right? Right? That's a chase card. That's the, choose a number between 0 and 13 and make everybody sacrifice that many. So it's a nice little board wipe, but it makes you do it. So go ahead, make them hexproof. You're still doing it. So, and overall it was pretty good. And then last night, actually, we went to our friends, the Tasmanians, and had our little 518ers club there where it got out of control very fast. It was fun and exciting. But, it was pretty good. But, let's get into upkeep because, I don't want to spend too much time talking about us. We got people. We got peeps. So here's what's happening tonight, guys. During upkeep tonight, main one is going to be call-in show, followed by combat, which is call-in show, and then main two, which is also the call-in show. So we're going to go right into that. Let's get into... So as part of the main phase, what I'm going to do is we are going to be inviting to... we're going to be doing this not just Aramis and I. We really feel very strongly that part of this year and the coolness and the greatness of this year has been having Cantrip Cartel. So we are going to do this tonight, and they are in with us. They're hanging out with us tonight. They're going to be part of our thing.
Hi, I'm Jake.
Oh, yes. And so I was going to introduce them, but somebody just sent me a text. So let me introduce you guys. We got their hosts are in here. We've got Jake and Matt from Cantrip Cartel, anchor.fm/Cantrip Cartel. Guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Say hello to all of our tens of fans.
Hi, I'm Jake.
Hey, I'm Matt. How's it going, guys?
I like that.
Yeah, how you guys doing? It's we're super happy to be on. We're glad you guys invited us. Like Will said, we're Cantrip Cartel. We're basically the podcast that talks about the old expensive formats. So
yes, the ones nobody can afford to play.
Exactly. Yep. So mostly modern and legacy, but we touch mostly anything Magic news, kind of like Will and Aramis. But we try really hard to leave the Commander and the standard stuff to them because, frankly, they're better at it.
Oh, that's true. We're amazing. More. Feel free. Keep piling.
Old rule of acquisition. It never hurts to snuck up to the boss.
Yes. Wait,
Man,
am I the boss?
He's such a good-looking, he's got that really silver fox, good-looking guy. Like, his wife is so lucky.
Yes. And then there's me. Because I didn't hear the start of that, so I'm assuming he meant Aramis with the silver fox. Because your hair is going gray on the side, dude. I've noticed that a little bit. It's hard to peek in.
Obviously relatively new to the podcasting family. We started about 4-ish months ago. I was able to reach out to Will, and he really kind of took us under his wing and helped us get set up. So when he asked us also to get to be a part of his year in wrap show, we were both pretty excited to get to come and join in. What do you think, Matt? You excited
awesome to
tell
be
these
here.
guys?
Can't thank the Planestalkers guys enough. They've really helped us out a lot through this whole process and really made it just easy. We've been far more successful than we ever thought we would be, and so it's just want to say thanks to you guys. It's been a great year.
Hey, we the checks keep coming. We're good. So no,
As long as your payments are on time, we got no problems.
Yeah,
If you got problems, we
Don't-
break your legs.
Don't make me send somebody over there. But no, I as well couldn't be happier with the success you guys are having. I mean, you are growing at a very good rate, but not too fast to where people are going to come and then go, but you're really doing it naturally, and that's kind of what I dig. If you haven't tuned into Cantrip Cartel, guys, what are you waiting for? Listen, I don't know how many hours you have in the car a week, but we make sure our show's about an hour, and I know their show's about an hour. If you have a 15 to 20-minute commute, you can do both. All right? If you can only do one, sorry, But if you should be able to do both. So I'm telling you, I love doing it. We did this, what was it? Our 100th episode, we did the call-in. Yes. So we're going to do this every 25 or whenever there's some real reason to. So, and the way this kind of goes, guys, the format is pretty, we have ourselves, there's a Google Doc that we're looking at. I'm going to kind of keep the conversations flowing. We will be bringing people from the audience up if you wish to. Feel free to raise your hands using the raise your hand button at the bottom. I'm assuming there's a raise your hand button at the bottom. Darn, my Will's second account's also an admin. If somebody wants to try to raise their hand so I can see that you rose your hand, I will. There, Apollo did, and Kyle. Okay. Yeah, but we're not bringing you in now. So we'll raise your hand. Then what we'll do is we will just bring you in. When you come in, you'll see a green bar at the top. You might see a notification depending on if you're Windows 11 in the lower right of your Windows machine. Click that, and then you'll see the green bar at the top. Hit accept, and boom, you're in. Few little epic ground rules on this as well. Okay, obviously we are an explicit podcast. Occasionally, I've been known to drop a few choice, colorful metaphors in my time. Let's not make it every other word. Again, keep it somewhat positive, but constructive criticism is the best way to go about it. Don't just be like, Wizard sucks. Let's say how they could not suck as much. And all right, I might pop you in, and then I may pop you out without saying goodbye. We'll try, but don't think I'm like Howard Stern and kicking you out. It's just we're gonna keep the show going. I want to get as many voices on as we can. So, obviously we're gonna keep it to the four of us up here. And there are times where we'll call in for you guys to like open and raise your hands. But if I see a hand raised like Kyle right now, I will invite Kyle to speak, because he had his hand raised still and forgot to unraise it. So he's going to pop in and say, I forgot to unraise my hand.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Hi, Kyle.
I forgot to unraise my hand.
Very good. And so watch what happens, guys. I'm just going to move him to the audience. Look at that. He's now back in the audience. And I'm on a power trip. Pack your bags. Call the agent. Here we go. All right. So with that being said, this is our year in review show. So be thinking about your thoughts as far as your year in review thoughts, guys. We're going to kind of break it up into two aspects in each main segment: paper and arena, releases. And then in the second half, it's going to be news, where we're going to go, it's going to be, a cantrip, or a tantric, hodgepodge of craziness. So we're going to talk real quick here. Let's talk a little bit about paper sets this year. We've had, holy crap. I mean, we didn't even put secret layers in here, because you can't put secret layers, although now I feel like
about 50 of them.
Because now I feel like, though, since I mentioned it, secret layers. By the way, I love Google Docs that you see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Let's put it this way. Okay, this was one of those crazy years. We had 5 sets in standard, which is, I don't care any way you slice it, Wizards is testing something there. They're like, can we squeeze one more out, do you think? There were 5 sets: Kaldheim, Strixhaven, D&D, Adventures of the Forgotten Realm, Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and Innistrad Crimson Vow. Modern had the Modern Horizons 2. They also had Time Spiral Remastered was released. Commander sets, freaking poopy ton. And I think of, what was the final count? 50 secret layers?
I'm pretty close to 50 secret layers, yeah.
So, holy cats, are there a lot of stuff. I kind of broke it down, as you guys can see in the sheet, versus standard MH, let's kind of go through a little bit. How do we feel about standard? How do we feel about the 5 sets? I mean, it's obvious there was a power drop. They obviously hurt us with,
Yeah. There was only one direction to go after Throne of Eldraine and Ikoria.
That was where I was looking for it.
Yeah. There's only one direction to go, and that's down, because those sets were bonkers.
Yeah.
Starting.
Sorry, we have to interrupt.
Oh.
Guys, I'm not even hearing the music. I'm just pretending. We have Pamela. Pamela is Aramis's incredibly better half, and I gave her her own bump. So. All right, going on, sir.
Yeah, so starting, I guess, just going in order for me, Kaldheim. I liked, that's one of those sets that people have been screaming about for years, because they teased the plane of Kaldheim, I think, in one of the conspiracy sets or something.
Yes, I agree.
And they're like, we want the Viking set, we want the Viking set, we want the Viking set. They gave us the Viking set. There were no Vikings.
Yeah. They were the Norse gods, kind of.
Yeah, it was like Viking theme, but they didn't have Viking as a creature type, which I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed about, because I think people were really expecting that. So that was a bit of a letdown, I think. it was really cool story wise, like lore wise. There were 10 realms, just like as Asgard and everything else. They had the world tree.
Actually,
Yeah.
Asgard is 9 realms, isn't it? So they're like,
Well,
we're doing one
Midgard-
better.
Yeah, like
Yes.
but they're doing like a Asgard Norse mythology type of thing, but like they tried to cram so much into that set. I can't remember the names of those 10 realms. Like I like there's Starnheim and Skursdarg, I think, and I can't
Still
remember the rest.
The new names for the shards in Ikoria.
Yeah, I mean I can remember that a little easier than that, but there was only 5 of those, 10 of these, but like they teased Vorinclex is there, so they say, hey, the Phyrexians are coming back. Something's going on with these guys. That was really awesome. It was a shame that the card was leaked before it was spoiled, which is a weird thing to say, but yeah, Jotunheim. No Jotunheim here. But it was a well-designed set, but it was just too confusing. There's just way too much stuff going on.
Right.
Strixhaven was fantastic.
Yeah.
Mystical Archives was a great idea. They need to do that more. I don't
Yeah.
care how, they need to do that more. That really was the set, I think, that for standard, that people were like, I need to buy as much of this as possible because these Mystical Archives, Demonic Tutor.
I like what
Lightning Bolt.
Park just said. I'm going to invite him in while you're talking Strixhaven. So,
Okay.
because he brought up a good point in text, and I want to put it in the audio here. Park, what did you just type?
Yeah, I just was talking about, you were mentioning all the different things in Kaldheim, and I'm like, how many people refer to the color pairs by their Strixhaven name compared to their Ravnica name?
That's an
Very
interesting
rarely.
question.
I think that's pretty rare. I mean, I'm sure there's people that do, but I
It's
think
the number of people that came in after Ravnica, but before Strixhaven.
that's
Right.
the thing too. Yeah.
I think that's almost going to be the line in the sand of how old school you are. It's like, yes, I'm playing. Is it? Yes, I'm playing whatever the hell the other one is.
Prismari.
Prismari.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's no
okay.
and there's no ally colors either.
No, which is weird.
So
Which
it's
tells
still
me
just
we're going to go to
Aurora.
Strix. Well, that tells me at some point they'll go to Strixhaven's rival school, which will be the Allied colors.
Strixhaven Community College.
Yes.
You say Hogwarts?
Yeah.
What did he say? Hogwarts?
Hogwarts.
The rival
That's-
school, the
That's
Hogwarts.
the rival school, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
They're
there
like,
you go.
we're working on a deal with Warner Brothers still. We haven't given up hope on that.
Oh, it's Warthog. Duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
Gosh, how
Get it
could I
right.
forget?
So, all right. So D&D Adventures of the Forgotten Realm. Who was it that brought it up here earlier? I think it was Black Label. He brought it up. He said this brought him back in to the thing, and I don't think he's. Oh yeah, he is. Hold on, let me bring.
Well, they
him in.
said the D&D set was one of the highest selling sets they've ever had, which I kind of found surprising on one hand.
Well, Black.
The D&D set was
I've-
like the. Oh, go ahead.
No, I've got Black Lake here. He's in with us, dude. Tell us what you were thinking about the AFR set because I think we all have an interesting opinion on it. You're muted. Mute.
His silence speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. Trademark Verizon. Please don't sue. Go on.
Yeah, so I was actually saying I'm a longtime D&D player and other TCG player, just in like other games and stuff, and the D&D set is actually what brought me in.
Oh, see.
So probably an unpopular hot take, but that's the one I'm taking. So
No, I think that was their intention.
I love
all
it,
along.
dude.
I think they wanted to bring in people that were not playing Magic but had like heard about it through like Magic adjacent things like D&D or other card games. And in that
Exactly.
respect, I think they did a great job. I mean, it was very flavorful. Like my favorite card in the set is Flumph, just because.
Listen, there's a reason your crack dealer also sells PCP.
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Well,
And
thanks,
someone who's
thanks,
Trying
Black.
this shit yet?
As someone who doesn't particularly like the whole Universes Beyond thing for the most part, like the D&D side of it was perfect. That is absolutely the crossover I was excited to see because it just fits too perfectly to not try.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
one of the
couldn't
ones
agree
you were like, how hasn't it happened yet?
Exactly.
That's sort of like you were thinking. And to be fair, honestly, obviously it's their own property since they own both IPs. but they did a fantastic job with the set as far as flavor overall. I mean, we nitpicked a bit when we were previewing cards. Like I thought Torask should have been stronger because it's the fucking Torask.
It's a Torask, yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think it was fantastic. Like the flavor text on the basics was chef's kiss. Loved it.
Good. Good.
It was a great set altogether.
It was.
But yeah, like from someone who, since it took the place of a core set, they kind of were able to do the best of both worlds, and I think that was really well done by them. All these sets have been good in their own way, so they haven't released a bad set this year.
I really
I do not understand. I don't understand how they didn't put any party support in D&D though.
Yeah,
I don't understand how we did.
I think they blew their wad on that early. I don't think they had a mechanic for. Was Party Zendikar? What was
Party?
Party?
Zendikar, which is Zendikar, which is legal. It's still legal in this standard, so it fits with it. So it'll rotate with Zendikar, and there were clerics and wizards and that stuff.
Yeah,
there.
But there's no like keyword party
Right.
in D&D. That felt weird.
Yeah.
And I think they brought that up. People were asking like Morrow that particular questions, like, hey, it's a D&D set. Why isn't Party there? And I guess they were like, we wanted to do other things. We wanted to focus in on other parts of it. And I guess, the dice rolling and other things, they wanted to do that too.
Right.
And I guess they just didn't have room, which, okay, I can understand. It sort of props up Zendikar's thing. So
Right.
I don't
I
know.
understand.
I don't think it's bad to try and prop up a set with a one-off mechanic that requires support. This seems
Right.
it seems like an odd decision on my part to see.
No,
that.
yeah, I think you're right. And then Midnight is saying that they missed Adventure too, and I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't do that because Adventure proved to be pretty fucking strong.
Yeah.
I could see Adventure being something that was cut out of D&D. Be like, no, we're not doing that again.
Yeah, we already fucked this up too much. We're not going to do it again.
And I'm bringing Bama in because we had the coming back to Magic, but TCG player and stuff. Bama is a veteran D&D guy who's now coming back. Bama, how are you, brother?
Good evening.
Oh, Jesus!
And welcome to Geek Media.
And somebody write that down. That's where I'm going to have to edit that.
Put a little bit more compression on that.
Yeah. Bama, how the hell are you, brother?
Doing pretty good. Like you said, I played a Magic a whole heck of a lot way back in the day and got away from it for the longest time. Spent the last couple of years playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and came back in with
Nice.
AFR, yeah.
So it brought you back. It brought you back to Magic. You were
Yes.
walked away. You went into D&D for a while, and this has brought you back. But you said something earlier, like the sheer amount of cards has made it. What were you
Oh
saying
my
about
God,
that?
Yes. So, on top of the 5 sets, you got Modern Horizons. I still don't understand that. You've got the whole Commander thing. I still don't understand that. It's all kinds of different crap going everywhere. Back in my day, you had a core set and you had a block.
Yep, I remember those days.
So,
I remember.
And I'm just gonna put. Oh, I want to put this out there because there's a lot of people listening on Twitch and stuff, guys. For me to pull entries for this show, I'm gonna need you, if you can, hop in our Discord. That if you want to win because you're putting in a ton of content, which is great. Go to discord.planestalkerspodcast.com, join the live call-in show area so that I can make sure I get your entry. So if you're doing that to kind of win the box, we're just glad you're here. And if you're just here, that's cool. But if you're doing it to try to kind of get in on the collector's booster winner box thing, I need you to be in the Discord because that's where I'm going to pull the entries from. So just thanks.
So
yeah.
to pivot over to what Bama was saying.
Yes.
I agree with him as a very enfranchised Magic player, having come back a few years ago. There are way too many freaking sets coming out. I mean, it's so hard to keep up with everything. I mean, Secret Lairs aside, because I'm not counting those as a set. I mean, we're gonna talk about those. I'm not counting those as a set because for the most part, those aren't new cards. For the most part, they sprinkle in new stuff every now and then. But usually it's a reprint thing, and it's like, hey, you want this particular card that looks really cool like this, and that's how that works, and that's great. But as far as new sets coming out, I mean, especially for a while there, I mean, towards the end of the year here, it was like, hey, here's we just got done with Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Here's Modern Horizons. Oh, by the way, wait, here's Innistrad. Oh, wait, there's another Innistrad. And hey, you know what? Next month in January, there's another.
Don't forget Jumpstart Horizons, folks. It was
Jumpstart.
It was.
There's
it was
so much
insane.
stuff coming out, and it's a strain on people's wallets. I'm hoping that this isn't their experiment to see exactly how much money they can squeeze out of us, because if it is, it's probably working really well. Because
Yeah, that's my fear.
Like crazy. But yeah, there are so many sets coming out, and I remember, like Bama said, back in my day, you know, there was the core set, there were your 3 block sets for the year. If you got a supplemental set, that was like oh shit, what's this thing?
They're doing an Ultimate Masters. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was once a year. They sort of sprinkled it in as kind of a surprise, but now it's basically constant spoiler season. Kind of getting a break at the end of the year, but it's a lot.
No, we're not. Kamigawa came out with some last week.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they are keeping their foot on that gas.
A content creator, it feels like I talk about a spoiler or a leak or a new set every other week.
And I'm not complaining because it's easy content. It is.
It's complaining.
And,
I don't like it.
And here's my thinking though too. I mean, I would complain more, I think, if we actually had and we're going to talk about this in Maine too, but if we had more of a pro tour type stuff going on, then I would be annoyed, because I'd be like, we used to, that was our bread and butter in the early days. We used to talk about that stuff a lot. And I know even now, like, we'll do the Winnabox stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, we've got to like shortchange the previews because we're doing the Winnabox stuff, and I like going over the Winnabox deck lists.
Well, and also too, it's kind of like you don't get a chance to really immerse yourself in the world that you're in. Like in Kaldheim, we spent 5 minutes there.
Yeah.
And now we're off to Strixhaven. We spent like 30 seconds there, and now we're in, you know, Forgotten Realms, which there's going to be a Commander Legend set for that next year. And then we spent like, you know, a cup of coffee there, and then we're going to spend a whole bunch of time in Innistrad, kind of, sort of, but it's 2 different sets that are kind of related, but not. And it's like,
I think
if you're someone who likes the lore, you can't get into it.
Right. I think what we're running into though is more along the line of, I think this is also part of the professional stuff going on, in that, without having pro play, it also seems like it's feast or famine. We're talking previews, we're talking spoilers, we're talking that, and then the set releases, and we have nothing for 3 weeks, where we're like straining to find content. It's like they're not giving us a chance to really analyze what we're getting in these sets, because Standard is figured out before it's released. The Modern is figured out almost as fast. Legacy, who can make sense of that? That's why I love Cantrip Cartel. And but
Boom,
I mean,
free plug.
you know, so let's pivot from there, though. I mean, Modern Horizons 2 came out, and it did move the needle in Modern. I was very happy to see that. So much cool stuff, I should say, not stiff.
Yeah. Modern Horizons. There is an issue with the Modern Horizons sets, and I think our friends from I think Cantrip Cartel can agree with me on this. Is that Modern and Legacy have become what came out of Modern Horizons that I can use to break this deck.
Ragavan. That became Ragavan.
It's the monkey. It's Solitude. It's, you know, all these cards coming in from Modern Horizons. They've cranked the power level up on those because, you know, it's going direct to Modern, direct to Legacy, so they don't have to worry about it warping Standard. But it's ended up warping Modern and Legacy to the point where, like, you roll in with the point of Modern and Legacy used to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It used to be, hey, I have this deck that I really enjoy. I'm going to build it. I don't have to worry about it rotating. I might need to add a card or two here or there along the lines every couple of years or whatever. But for the most part, I can walk into a tournament and be competitive, or an event like an FNM and have a good time. Nowadays, like, if you haven't played Modern in like a year and a half, and you walk in, you're going to get smashed.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
That's just it. I mean, my local game store, like, we have two kind of, I mean, Kerwin's and Flights 2 are our main stores for the shows. My local game store, the one that's closest to me, is, you know, Professor Bonds. We've had, you know, them on the show, and I'd love to go to a Friday Night Magic once things, you know, kind of slow down a little bit more, but they play Modern, and it's like, look, I can't hang, and I know it's casual. I know I could roll in with almost any deck but it's like, and it's weird because in Modern Horizons 2, they did the right thing. The printing of the fetches was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It was amazing. Yeah. We have play sets of fetches. This is so cool. And then you print a broken fracking card called Ragavan, and it's now $90.
You must love the monkey. Worship
Yeah,
the monkey.
They reprinted fetches, and modern's more expensive than it's ever been.
Yeah,
So
it's
what
it's
good
funny
did
how
it
that
do?
worked.
It's just, oh God, I love
I
you,
mean, like-
Wizards, but
Like
dang.
from like a value perspective, Modern Horizons 2 was fantastic. You open a pack, you're almost guaranteed to get something good. Set boosters are really nice for that. Collector
Right.
boosters, oh my god,
We're
you
out
get
of control. We
gold
should have
framed,
cracked
foil
those.
etched. Yeah, but the good thing for Modern Horizons 2 was kind of overshadowed with the fact that, like, Modern Horizons 1, I mean, I don't think there's anything in Modern Horizons 2 that's quite as busted and half broken as Hogak and the Astrolabe.
Ragavan is close.
Ragavan's
Ragavan
close.
is really
Ragavan's
close.
but not quite there. Force of Negation.
Well,
Yeah,
you're not
okay,
wrong.
They reprinted it in Modern Horizons 2, but your chance of picking one up are slim to none.
And you're not wrong in that, you know what? With Hogak, it was almost an immediate call for bans. I mean, like on fire, everybody. Ragavan, nobody's really calling for Ragavan to be banned. I don't think.
Oh, I'm
Guys,
hearing it. Oh,
are
yeah,
you?
They are.
Not
People
the
don't like the
Legacy
monkey.
stores, are you?
Yeah, so Legacy, there's all kinds of ban talk. Modern, in my opinion, is in a reasonable spot. Like the Modern Horizon 2 cards, the ones everybody hates, Ragavan and Murktide, they see a reasonable amount of play, but they haven't overtaken the format. But they're right there. Like, it came out and boom, here's another deck. It just went right into what used to be like blue-red prowess,
Right.
changed a few things up a little bit, and now you basically printed Modern Horizons 2 tier 1 decks.
And I think it wouldn't have been so much of a problem if, like, having cards get slotted right into existing archetypes and supercharge them to like tier 1 status. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but it's the fact that they're mythic.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Doesn't help. I mean, if they were
Yeah.
rare or even like, I wouldn't want Ragavan as an uncommon. I'll say that.
Right.
But a card like a Ragavan in the sense of, hey, this card is really good for this particular deck or this little section of decks. It's really going to juice them up. Let's put it in at rare. Let's put it in an uncommon.
Well, Jamie's put it. Jamie said in the chat, because he's using the chat here. He's like, Modern is viable Battle of Wits decks now, thanks to MH2. But there's also a content creator who made a $3,500 deck, which was really good, in the Battle of Wits deck with $6,200. So,
Aramis, what I want to point out here, what you're talking about in card design is a deck building cost. Creating cards with deck building costs, and that's what Matt and I are super in favor of. The best example is Allosaurus Shepherd. This card is busted in half if you look that card up. It's ridiculous.
I love that card.
It's fine.
I have it in
Fine,
any
it's
green
only
deck I can. Now that I have it.
It's a crazy good card. It's obnoxiously good. But since it has this inbuilt restriction where it's only good in one deck, maybe two, it's fine. Cards like Ragavan that are insanely good and have no cost to entry. They have no deck building cost. That's where we start seeing problems in the older formats.
Yeah, and the problem is too is that because it's a mythic, that means people are looking for it more, which means, hey, guess what? It's now $90.
Right, because Modern Horizons 2...
Rare, like even if it was a rare, maybe it'd be like $20-$25, which is still a lot for a single piece of cardboard, but that's a lot more reasonable than $90.
And they're printing Modern Horizons 2, right? Like, they're still printing Modern Horizons 2.
The print run for that is probably close to done. It is.
Okay.
It was printed demand, but I think they're probably sunsetting that right about now.
Okay.
I imagine.
Because, I mean, I could still get Jumpstart. I love it. If I see Jumpstart, I still pick them up.
But the problem is, even though they're still making Modern Horizons 2, Ragavan's a mythic, so you're not going to see that many.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit, pivoting off of that. The other really cool set they released this year that I was happy about, Time Spiral Remastered. I loved that. I thought that was fantastic. It was well done.
Big asterisk.
Yes. What's the big asterisk?
They made like one case of the set, and that was it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
one palette.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was too limited. Like, I had more luck finding them at Targets and Walmarts than I did at a LGS, and that to me, that seemed like something that they should have funneled to the LGSs. Absolutely.
They should have printed at least that should have been printed demand, like every other, like any other set. I mean, I understand. Okay, it's a special thing, and it's really nostalgic. But people were screaming for this. They're like, "We want more. Give us more, please!" And it just didn't happen.
Right.
I think that was the perfect example of a set where they were like in a boardroom, we have no freaking clue if this is going to sell or not. Like, we should go soft on this just in case. And they screwed the pooch and went way too soft. And that's why MH2 had this. Every set that's having old border stuff has crazy print runs.
Right.
Now they
What?
know.
That was Modern Horizons. That was the plan with Modern Horizons from the get-go, is that it was going to be printed demand because there wasn't enough of the first Modern Horizons. I also think that one of the problems with going back to Modern Horizons real quick, one of the reasons Ragavan is also $90 is because the Modern Horizons packs were more expensive than
True.
other sets. It was more of a premiumly priced product, which I think is bullshit.
Doesn't help.
Charge the same for the pack. It doesn't cost them any.
But Aramis, that just means this product isn't for you. Tomorrow says it all the time.
It's for me. It's for me, but it's not for my wallet.
Just like times
It's
five
not for your
Master
wife,
wasn't
Aaron.
For anybody in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Nobody here wanted to buy any of that stuff.
But it's like it's one of those things where you figure, okay, you might charge less, but you're gonna sell so much more.
Right.
It's gonna offset that, and you're still gonna make ridiculous profit either way. So,
Well,
they want more of it up front than down the road.
Right. And moving on from there, like, let's, speaking of price points and not gouging, but, commander sets. Now, they did something new with commanders this year in that they really phased out the Planeswalker decks, which I don't think anybody is going to yell about.
Nobody misses those. You want a deck that's ready to play for beginners. The arena starter packs are really where you want to go.
Yeah. And so Commander, them starting to release commanders, and they did this last year with Zendikar, and they kept it going. I love it. So this year there were at least two with every. So we had at least 10 commander decks released. But in the case of D&D AFR, they released 3 others? Like
Call Time had 2.
Right.
Strixhaven had 5.
That was it. Strixhaven was 5, 7.
Then there were 4 for Forgotten Realms.
11.
There were 2 for Midnight Hunt.
13.
And
2 for Crimson Vows. 15. Okay, so
5 a year.
Yeah,
a lot of commander decks.
And and they ranged in price. They were starting off at $20 for Kaldheim, and then Strixhaven bumped that up to 40.
40, because that was technically their original, their normal commander release for the year.
But then D&D AFR, they were like, we're going to charge you 30, and they stayed with 30 from now on.
But it's 40 still now. It's 39.
Is it still 40? Yeah.
Yeah, it's back to the original price point.
Which is
Well, to be fair, I liked them when they were 20, and I think
did too.
That was a great price point for them. Having them at 40, what they did do, they have been improving the cards that were in them. They have been improving the mana bases, especially.
Right.
These decks have been really good. I mean, for precons,
they're powerful.
Legit.
We play them every set. Yeah.
I mean, but obviously I would have enjoyed it much more if it was at $20. I mean, but at the same time, it doesn't cost them as much because there's some new cards, but not a ton.
Parkmania makes a good point. He's like, I don't play Commander. I wish they didn't put Commander-only cards in standard release set boosters. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I'm okay with it because they also put Legacy, Vintage. I mean, the set list is pretty diverse. So
yeah, the list needs to be tinkered with.
Yeah.
Though.
It really does.
He's not talking about list cards. If you open a set booster, you can literally just pull like extended art.
That's true.
Commander cards.
Commander cards, yeah.
Yeah, and I get it, but it's Commander. They're pushing Commander, and they should, because I think everybody. Here's the thing. I think Commander is. It's where and I guess this is going to kind of wrap us up for the paper sets for the years. Commander is where things are going. A lot of people like to play Commander over almost any other format. It is now the most popular format out there because I think it has to do with the singleton factor. I think the fact that you can buy 1 Ragavan and put it in a red Commander deck as opposed to 4 for your modern deck, that speaks to people. Yeah, but it's also it goes ball like crazy, like all the way sideways. You can play any deck you want and however you want.
I think that's the draw.
Yeah, that's the draw, especially for me for Commander over other formats. Is that for one, like you said, the singleton aspect is that okay? I have 1 Cyclonic Rift that I managed to get somehow. I can put them into all my decks,
which I do because I only have 1 Cyclonic Rift.
Right, but then also 2, it's the fact that you have access to basically the entire game if you want to, depending on
Right.
how far back you go. Like you might have these old cards that you haven't played in forever, and they don't fit into standard, they don't fit into modern, they don't fit into legacy, but they fit into commander,
Right.
and that gives you a chance to play more of your cards, and it's more of it's a casual format, allegedly.
Oh, we've got people raising their hands, so I'll invite Kyle in first, and then I'll get
Ooh,
Grunt
okay.
and Adam.
While they're coming in, it's that rule 0 I think that draws the most people in, because
Yeah.
if
Right.
you want to show up to a Friday night modern, if you want to have a chance of winning, you need to spend $600 to $1,000. Whereas if with the proper discussion beforehand, you can bring a precon and win if we're all on the same power level.
Yeah, precons can hang.
And we've got Grunt 21. We brought him in. Then Kyle, I'll bring you. Grunt.
Yeah, the most daunting aspect of Commander when I first tried to get in was potentially like, oh, I'm gonna need the best cards for just one deck. But like honestly, yeah, the Singleton format really helps that. And like honestly, there's no meta really, and that also, I mean, that's really helpful to keep gameplay fresh, which is why the only paper format I play is Commander.
Yeah, like the meta is whatever your play group happens to be, and like even if you don't have fetch lands, there are cheaper alternatives to fetch lands. There's ways to do things in Commander with cards that aren't always optimal that are still fine. If you don't have a fetch land, Fabled Passage works well. Evolving Wilds in a pinch,
Yep.
But there's options out there for you if you don't have a set of Scalding Tarns.
Right. Kyle, what did
A
you
lot of
have?
the dual land are
Oh.
more viable too.
So,
Go ahead, Kyle.
sorry, say that again. No, I talked over him. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had finished my thought. I apologize.
Go ahead, Kyle.
So I started playing Magic this year. So I've dived deep into this. I have spent way too much money
It's
on
a hell of a rabbit hole,
Yes.
ain't it?
It is, and my
Welcome.
girlfriend was like, if you start this, you need to be aware that it costs a lot of money. That being said, I love it. I bought my first booster box, set booster box. It was Kaldheim
Good man.
too, because I'm like, oh, this is great. I love the Norse gods and everything. What Aramis said about the Vikings, I didn't even think about that part, and now I want that.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
the AFR set was great because I do a little side D&D-esque sort of thing. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool to do. And it is. I like the aspect of it. I wish we had a core set because I'm like, oh, that would help me get into Magic even more. But I think, as everyone has said, AFR has done that
Yeah.
well.
They kind of slotted that in as the core
Yeah.
set this year.
And then Strixhaven is where I actually came in at, and I'm like seeing all these dual types, and I'm like, is this how the game works forever? Then going back and researching it all and everything, and then getting into Innistrad, and then knowing that there's more Innistrad. Yeah, there's a lot. But Commander is the thing I'm playing mostly, and by mostly I mean with you guys.
Right.
I have yet to actually play Commander with anyone else.
Well, that's all right.
Aw.
Well, we'll work on that.
Yeah, I know. I've created my first Commander deck. It's vampire based, so I'm
And that's
hoping.
That's the great thing about Commander, because you can be like, you know what? I like oozes. I'm going to make an ooze deck.
Yeah.
Boom. You can do that, Or you can say, you know what? I want my commander to be ooze, but I want the rest of the deck to be just degenerate bullshit. You could do that too.
Right.
Recommend the degenerative bullshit.
Yeah, I like my share of degenerate bullshit.
And Adam Baum, I'm going to bring you in. You've got your hand raised. So, and then Apollo has his hand raised. And then Rev has his hand raised. Oh my gosh, there's so many hand raised. Guys, you know what? We're going to skip the arena stuff. We're just, because this seems to be something everybody wants to talk about, so we'll keep it going. Adam, you've been invited. There you go.
Commander topic is popular.
Adam, how are you, buddy? You're on the air.
Hello. Hello.
We hear you now. Yes. Hello.
Hear me now? Hear me now?
Trademark Verizon. Adam, we did hear you say hello twice. Adam.
I think that was me saying hello.
That was
Oh.
Aramis.
All right, I'm going to move you to the audience, Adam. Try to figure out how your mic's supposed to go, buddy.
Hey, there he is.
Oh,
Sorry,
what?
my headphones were being weird. I just took my headphones off.
Aha.
Very good. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, so yeah, I'm also really into the Commander format. I definitely related to the whole picking what you find interesting. I was at an AFR draft and I got a Volo and I was like, I'm making this deck. So just like singleton for every creature type is like so much fun to make. I think that's honestly the biggest pull for me, at least for Commander, is that like in like any competitive format, you sort of are limited by what works. And in Commander, you can just sort of be like, hey, let me find people with a level 5 deck so that I can do random stuff that doesn't really work but is fun to do.
Yeah, it takes it back to where Magic was back in the mid to late 90s, where it's like you show up with your friends, you play whatever you threw together, and it might work once out of every 15 games, but boy, that one time it works. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
And,
cool.
yeah, and then also the precons I find really great. They're a really good way to get started with the game. I actually just met a couple people at my local game store who I don't know how they found Magic, but basically just showed up at the store, and I happened to have one of my Commander decks there, and they bought precons on the spot, and we just started playing, and they were like, "This is awesome."
That's
So,
great. That's
It's like
great.
a really easy way to get it.
All right. Yeah, you're not wrong there. Adam, I'm going to move you because we've got a whole list of people, but hang around. Let's bring in Apollo. He's next in line here. And I have to right-click and say invite to speak.
The button.
Hey.
Push. Do the
Apollo, what's up, buddy?
Good afternoon. I'm doing okay.
Afternoon. What
Hey.
time zone are you in?
It's nighttime now.
Ah, very good.
It's still afternoon technically.
Go look at the
Happy
sun,
dark-
my friend.
Happy dark time.
What's
Happy
up?
dark time.
So what do you got
yeah,
for
no.
us?
So I've been playing Magic since Amma and Ket when I first did a draft. The first card I pulled in that draft was Nicobolus, the God Pharaoh. Still my favorite card. Leading into Commander, the reason why I like these I both like and dislike the amount of Commander sets that are coming out this year. There's you said there's 15 or 17.
15.
Yeah.
15 commander
of them.
sets.
So while I like there's a large variety of them, I feel like there's a lot as someone who is still practically new to the game, there's a lot of staples in these cards that I feel like I want to get, and the price point. I probably bought about 3 of them now, and each one of them is their own deck, and I'm having a lot of fun of them. Probably. I
Hello?
lost my train of thought.
Oh.
I lost my train of thought. No, my bad. But yeah, I really like how easy it is to just pick up and play with a commander deck, but I also feel like there's probably too many to choose from, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that it's one of those things where it's a good problem to have, but you
Yeah.
can get a little bit of decision paralysis. I can totally see where that's coming from. I think one of the problems, and they've more or less avoided that with most of this crop of commander decks. They've avoided the problem of like Fierce Guardianship and Dockside Extortionist, where it's these hyper-powered cards that automatically slot into whatever commander deck you want, and then thus makes those commander decks prohibitively expensive compared to other ones. Like Dockside Extortionist, I think it's like a $75 card now. And if you can manage to find the precon that it's in, you're going to be paying like $80, $90 for the precon. They haven't
At
really
that point,
done.
it's worth it.
Yeah, at that point, it's still worth it. But it's like, they haven't really done that where they're introducing cards that are solid, but it's like not like, oh my god, this is Arcane Signet. This goes into basically every deck.
We'll reiterate. Deck building restrictions. That's what makes a good card well designed.
And to carry on to that, 2 more things I'd like to add. I really enjoyed the Strixhaven this year. That's probably the most Magic I've bought in so long. I probably bought 3 or 4 collector boosters just for commander cards.
Wow.
And I got just about all of them, which is really nice. I can make a different variety of decks.
Strixhaven with the mystical archives, like I said, they need to do that again.
I
Yes.
love that so much.
Just like, and it's so much better than the list because for one, you're guaranteed to get one, and they can keep it small and curated like that, and just be like, okay, here's our little group of chases for this particular version of the mystical archive, because they had Demonic Tutor and they had Time Warp and Primal Command, all these really good cards from back in the day. And of course, yeah, you had your other cards. You're like, all right, Defiance or Divine Gambit. What the fuck is this doing in here? But they can refresh that and redo it. Whereas with the list, you're like, why did I get my 3rd snub Torn Sentry? This card is terrible then. It's terrible now.
Yeah. And
Yes.
my last thing I wanted to add on was I really liked Modern Horizons 2 this year, basically just for Commander cards. Same thing. I got 2 collector boosters of Modern Horizons 2, and I was satisfied with all of the fetch lands that I got.
Exactly.
There you go.
Cool. Well, thanks, Apollo. Let's bring in Revs. I think this is Jamie, our producer. So, actually, I should have brought him in first. I'm probably going to get in trouble. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this.
You in trouble?
So, Jamie, is that you?
Yes, it is. Good morning.
Hey,
Good morning, all.
Jamie, ladies and gentlemen, our producer. You're actually hearing him live.
Oh.
How's it going, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, guys. It's just on the topic of Commander. It's interesting conversations. Going to look at it from a little bit of a darker side, being from, way over here in the UK. So
Well,
naturally, you've got 25k cards in existence. I think we're up to closer to 30. But I mean, you look at the likes of EDH, REC. You see decks, you see themes. If you're building like an Edgar Markov deck, it's typically all vampires, and then you see some out of fringe commander decks. Now, my local meta, like you see things that just look silly on the table, but it's still Ancient Tomb, Stall Ring, tap all this, and you just go mental with mana. So it's just the point I'm making is like, yeah, okay, sometimes budget's a thing, but even when budget's a thing, they've got the budget bits in the deck building card archives now, which
Yes.
then makes every commander deck look kind of similar to every single one. I mean, if you're playing a Dimir control-like commander, you can probably guess about at least 40 cards of that 99 just from sitting at the table from a seasoned commander player.
Yeah,
But
no, you're not wrong.
it's just my sort of 2 cents on the subject. It's a bit more pessimistic, but
No, it's good.
yeah, but as great as Commander is, I mean, I think the biggest problem Commander has is that Wizards has noticed people having fun with it now, so they're kind of flooding that market. But
So let's monetize it.
so unfortunately, that's kind of where we're going. But
Okay.
every product now has Commander nods. But that's all I got to say on it, guys.
I appreciate it, brother. Stick around, though. All right, we'll bring you back in.
No,
Yeah, no problem.
he's totally right. I mean, that is one of the problems that you run into with commander decks, especially once you start to go into the higher power levels. You get a lot of homogenation,
Yeah.
where it's like, all right, you're playing white, that means you're playing Smothering Tide, you're playing Source of Plowshares, you're playing Path to Exile. You know
Yeah.
those cards are going to be in
You're
there.
playing blue.
has
You're playing
Cyclonic
Rhystic Study. You're playing
playing
Cyclonic Rift. You're playing. Yeah, I get it. I'm with
Force
you.
of Will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those super.
Well, I'm not
high-
playing Force of Will because I haven't taken out a small business loan. But
It's $100.
It's less than a mana crypt.
that's true. So we've got Parkmania. He was our last one here, and then we'll move on from here. Parkman, what do you got for us, man?
All right, so I've been playing the game off and on since the Dark was available at retail in the stores. So I've
Dinosaur.
Wow.
I've played with all these cards that have been along, and my biggest thing is I have enough trouble having consistency in a 60 card deck with 4 ofs, let alone trying to get any sort of consistency in a singleton 100 card deck. And
Yeah.
my other issue with playing Commander is the local store here. Their events for Commander run well past midnight, and I'm a guy that has to be up at work at 6 a.m. So
Oh, wow.
I just don't see any value for me personally in
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
building Commander.
That's one of the problems with the commander deck is that sometimes the games can run a little bit long, and it's a double-edged sword with the consistency issue because, like you said, part of the problem is that you're not going to get a lot of consistency with your deck depending on how it's built, obviously. But on the other hand, it also means your deck plays differently each time, so that you might be able to attack your strategy from a different angle. So that it
Take care,
depends
Knight.
on how it depends on how you're really going into it. But I can totally see where you're coming from that respect too. And also too, like certain game stores, like you might come in and that game store's meta might be closer to CEDH, where people, you lose the game on turn 1 or 2, and you're basically just watching them masturbate their deck for an hour and a half.
Yeah. We
Almost
kind of
never
had that.
happens. I'm going to jump in as a CEDH player. That almost never happens. Don't lie to people.
Excuse me. At Flights last week, Aramis was masturbating across the table for 22 minutes.
That's because that's because no one else is playing Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, like Spell Pierce, See,
I was,
EDHX
I was
isn't
cascading,
cheddar?
but I wasn't comboing off.
I know. Yeah, but Parkman, I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm keeping you in for just a second because I felt the same way you did. I did feel like it was actually somewhat almost anxiety-inducing. It was daunting. And I thought, too, like, okay, how consistent can it be? It's a singleton format with 100. The fact is, you'd be surprised at the level of synergistic cards that are out there that make it so that you don't need those. And if you do, you have an array. If you're playing black, you have an array of tutors to find the cards you need to be able to pull it off. Believe it or not, it's definitely, if you ever wanted to try, man, we'll get you in for sure we'll play on a Commander Craft because it's very safe, and we tend to do it, we're going to start doing a little bit more pre-con nights with not just being limited to the themes. I think we're looking at doing one in January sometime where if you have a pre-con, then we'll do a night where it's pre-cons only. So just to kind of get people into playing Commander. So, look at that, man. Take a look at that, see maybe what you can come up with.
Well, I absolutely will. Like I say, it's just one of those things where, trying to get usage out of the cards. And I understand, the Commander does let you play all the cards you've ever owned.
Right. All right, buddy. I'm going to put you back in the room there. But go on there. What were you going to say, Jake?
I was gonna say, like, the big complaint about like games lasting until midnight or whatnot.
That's your store not doing what they should do.
Part of it is like as decks tier up in power, like game time goes down. It's when you have, in my experience, like a bunch of like level 4 decks bashing heads against each other. Is when you have
battle cruiser magic.
Yeah.
Yes. But when you start getting into level 7, level 8, level 9, now you're getting into where decks are comboing off or are taking over the game, and you basically means one or two people has to try to win, and the first, second, or third will win, and that happens on turn 7, 8, 9, or 10, and the game is over.
Yeah, that's the comma.
Even Commander Craft, I mean, we've had some later nights. It's usually when one of us, we're all kind of playing combo-y type of decks, and one of us just hasn't found our combo. But yeah, Commander's been really... I mean, this was the year of Commander. It worked. I don't think Commander's going anywhere.
Well, and it's funny too because it's not like Commander wasn't popular before, but I think really what really made it blow up even more than it already was, because it was already going crazy. It was the pandemic.
Yeah, and people finding Spell Table. So let's pivot. We don't really have a combat, so main 2. Let's pivot from
better than Planestalkers.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Wow. We could go there.
Where's that kick button again?
Yeah. You just say send to listening. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, I could do one better. See, I could even so he doesn't know, I could right click him here and say user volume 0 so he doesn't go through the broadcast. But we want to pivot to news because this is our year in review, and there was a ton of things. I am assuming that obviously one of the Cantrip guys, we did have a section on Arena. Arena, let's face it, when it comes to Arena news, Alchemy. All right, let's face it. Alchemy is going to be the news you talk about with Arena. Arena is... It's very strange because there was some news that came out this week. I did put it in the Discord over the holiday. It is weird that it came out Christmas Eve. I think Wizards was just trying to sweep that under the radar. They're like, let's release this Christmas Eve. For those that don't know, MTGO, Magic the Gathering Online, the more permanent of their digital platform, like you tend to quote-unquote own your cards, but we don't know what's going to change now, has... Basically, Wizards has sold, if not sold the running of that game to Daybreak Games. Mm-hmm. So Daybreak Games took over Sony's platform, which is EverQuest, DC Universe Online, that type of stuff. Daybreak Games came out of Sony. They've got a pretty great... Don't get me wrong, I love DCUO. So, I mean, I'm familiar with Daybreak, and I trust Daybreak. They seem to have a pretty good head on their shoulders. They're not all about just money. I mean, they're about making money, but they're also really big on free to play. And
their whole shtick is they take old games that and basically keep them going.
Right. So MTGO is moving there under their umbrella. I'm not sure what that means for as far as Hasbro has oversight. I don't know what it means for our collections. I don't know if we still will own the cards or what have you. But that's a big deal in that Hasbro now only has one digital platform that they own and operate. And that digital platform is Arena. And that's a scary mother hucker.
I think it's a good move for MTGO.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
It makes me nervous.
Yeah, I'm like, is it though?
So I will tell you, and this is a bit of a pessimistic view on what could happen, and I'm not knocking anyone who hasn't done anything yet, and that means Wizard, that means the new company that runs MTGO.
Daybreak, yeah.
But, if MTGO was a cash cow, WotC would not separate itself from MTGO. The idea that WotC is now bringing a new company in to manage it, a fear I have is that it is not performing financially enough for them to warrant running it themselves.
Mhm.
If that's the case, MTGO could be maybe performing so poorly it eventually gets turned off.
Right.
And every card that you own, well, you may own it, air quotes, once the server's shut off, those cards don't exist.
I think,
and that's the case of anything, and that's always been the case with that. I hate to interrupt, Aramis, but I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, you're not totally wrong, but that's a risk we run with any digital platform. You have that risk, any game. Where things could go is that I think MTGO is as close to a digital local game shop as you can get, in that they became more of a vendor of a place where we could play, and you had all these stores pop up that were making money off of the trades. You know, you could trade the cards, you built your collection, but you could also trade other players. It was a real trading card game. And I think the thing about it is that I think Wizards, Hasbro were like, what do we see from those trades? Do we get a piece of that? And they were like, no. In the beginning, we said we wouldn't take a piece of it. It was just we were going to run the game, build the content. And I think Hasbro, and they're like, and we will, we make money off people buying packs from us. And Hasbro was like, well, we should make money off those trades. What the hell's your problem? That's a stupid thing. We should make a new platform. That's far more corporate thinking in my opinion, because the economy inside MTGO is peer-to-peer almost, in that once you buy the packs, once you buy the entry into events, it's peer-to-peer. And now you have the rental companies, and they're doing things. And again, Hasbro doesn't see a cut of that. So, I mean, I hate to be negative Nelly on this, but I think that's why they're cutting MTGO loose, is that they're like, we control balls to nut, balls to stem, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. But, we control everything from A to Z in Arena. There is no side economy, whereas MTGO is nothing but side economy. Discuss.
So I think I have a bit of a different perspective from this as well. I think you guys are both partly right. I think there's another way to look at this, though. MTGO has a long history of just not working, right? So there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of development time that needs to be spent on MTGO, and it hasn't gotten a lot of TLC in the last, decade.
18 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Debatable.
So
it got a huge facelift about 3 years ago.
It did, but that was mostly just front end stuff, not the back end stuff that's been broken for years and hasn't been fixed. It may never get fixed, even with this change. But what I think Wizards is doing is more of a shifting of resources.
Right, they want to focus on Arena.
Yeah, it's less of a throwing their hands up and giving up type of thing, and more of a saying, you know what, you can take this. We want to focus our energy on Arena. So I think what they're doing is they're taking whatever development staff they have on MTGO, they're shifting their priorities to Arena. They're letting Daybreak Games take over all of that. And they probably have more staff that they can dedicate to fixing back-end stuff on Arena that have needed to get fixed and hasn't been able to get fixed, because Hasbro, frankly, doesn't give a shit about MTGO. They don't care.
Right. They haven't in some time. I would agree with that. And again, I think that has to do with the side economy.
Right, but I think for right now, the initial reaction for me is net positive. yes, there's a chance that Daybreak Games eventually just shuts this down. That, like Will said, that's a risk of any online platform.
I think Wizards was going to shut it down before Daybreak Games would.
Possibly.
I think Wizards would have shut it down this year if they couldn't find a buyer.
I don't think it would have been this year. It would have been a few years down the road, because it still does make them money, and it still will make them money, even though it's going through Daybreak Games. They'll still get a piece of this pie. I think what they're doing is basically saying, look, we don't have the resources and we don't care to put in the resources to fix this game that people are very passionate about. There's a very loyal player base in this game. They love that game because, I mean, think about it.
Because you can play Commander, you can play Modern,
Commander, you can play any format. You can play Pauper, you can play Artisan, you can play Legacy, you can play Vintage.
Pauper was created there.
Yeah, and this is a place where you can get a Black Lotus for a very reasonable price. It's only like what, 50 tickets?
They're cheaper than that.
Yeah, so well, there you go. It's not $500,000. That's the point.
Oh, they're like $15.
Yeah, so you can get a playset of Lotuses for less than a Dockside Extortionist in paper.
Vintage decks cost less than a Modern deck or a Legacy deck on MTG.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. How many of us have wanted to have the opportunity to play with the Power 9 and can't because we don't have, gold flowing out of our veins?
So here, I want to point something out because you're bringing you like the idea, like the cost of like fixing MTGO. If we work under the assumption that MTGO was a profitable program, let's say 3 years ago, there is realistically one recurring cost in MTGO, and that is paying people to put new cards in, essentially.
Right.
What has changed in the last 3 years? They're producing 4 times the cards a year they were.
Right.
So the input cost of running this program has increased by a factor of 4, and the monetization that it receives has not increased at all.
But at the same time, their profit margins have increased exponentially. So if they wanted to invest the resources and say, okay, we're only going to get 17% profit instead of 20% profit, and put that extra money into hiring more developers and having them say, hey, MTGO is your baby, they would have done that. That's basically what I'm saying, is that they had the chance to do it. They don't want to because it's going to cost them more of their profits, which they don't want to dip into because they have this grand scheme of doubling profits every year. So they're giving it to Daybreak and saying, hey, you guys can take this. We'll give you, some of the support and everything else that you need. They'll still end up spending money on Magic or Online. It won't be as much. They still get money back from it. And that way they don't shut everything
off.
But
I think what you're going to find is, the one thing on that is, I think what you're going to find is that over time, right now, they will develop for Arena and MTGO with that in mind. In time, though, they may stop because here's the thing: they're two different going into geeky tech talk now. They're two different database styles. They're two different engines. They're two different everything. They've had to double, their workforce for Arena and MTGO. Now, I could see a point that if Daybreak is taking it over and Hasbro's washing their hands of it, that there could come a point where Hasbro is going to say, look, it's too much trouble for us to make sure that MTGO can fire events using these newer cards. I could also see a point where they say, this is the line. You want to play Commander, you want to play Legacy, you can play up to this point, but we're not going to put new sets in MTGO because we're putting them in Arena. And we're not going to do Standard. Now, I won't be surprised at this if they don't do Standard in MTGO. If they're like, you want to play Standard, you play in Arena.
I think it'll be they'll keep the status quo as long as possible. Something may change in the future, but I'm not gonna try to speculate that far ahead. My own personal magical Christmas land hope that I know won't happen, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm ever the optimist, is that they're gonna take this up. Yeah, they're gonna take this opportunity.
What?
To now that they're devoting less resources to MTGO, they're bringing to Daybreak Games. That frees up space among the developers they have. They're going to reallocate them to Arena. Maybe this means they're going to add to the back catalog a little bit more, and maybe eventually bring Pioneer, if not Modern, to Magic Arena.
We can hope.
We can hope. I don't think so, but it would be nice. That would be, to me, the logical thing to do. Is that if you're going to devote more resources to Arena, and you're adding all these new sets, but now you have all these extra developers, You can also, you can fix some of the client side issues, and you can also have more time to build in some of the back catalog to eventually get to, if not Modern, Pioneer, which would be great. And that would solve a lot of the problems and make sure that Pioneer is a format that doesn't have fucking Alchemy.
Park Mania, there's some real pie in the sky there.
It is pie in the sky, but you know what? Maybe once in a while I want to have some pie.
Okay, so let's pivot from there because we are talking about Arena. Let's kind of talk about some Arena news. How do you guys feel about Alchemy? And I'm going to duck now.
No.
I have not opened the program since it came out.
Same here.
Wow. I have. It's an interesting play style. It's an interesting format. I don't like what they did at Historic. I feel that I do miss being able to play. But again, we kind of hit on this the last couple of episodes. Aramis and I are more paper focused than Arena. However, I could see from a digital gamer perspective, from a video gamer over paper card, that at the end of the day, I could see where they would enjoy this. And I could see for the Twitch streamers why, so some of the podcasts, people were talking to me about it even offline. They're like, I was amazed at what you said about the podcasters. Yeah, they're all like crazy positive and I'm not. And I'm like, understand this, that a lot of the podcasters out there also stream Arena. And from a streaming standpoint, yes, this is a net win because Standard's at least playable again. It's not figured out 6 seconds after. And if it is, in a month, it could change again. So I can get that. But yeah, I feel like Alchemy is...
I'm fine with it too. I'm fine with Alchemy, the idea of Alchemy.
Right.
I'm fine with the idea of having cards getting changed on a digital level, whenever they need to. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with how they're doing it with Standard. My big issue with Arena is that I don't play Standard on Arena. I like to play Historic Brawl or Historic in general. Now I don't have the choice. I have to play Alchemy if I want to play Historic, and that's not what I'm interested in. If they, again, this is my big problem with it. If they had done it with all of the queues, split it off into an Alchemy side and a non-Alchemy side for everything that they offer, outside of Limited, because obviously, but I would have zero issue with Alchemy whatsoever. I have no problem with it existing as its own thing. We should have the choice, because if MTGO, that old dinosaur of a program, can have literally 27 formats, Arena can handle 7.
It's a difference of database and it's a difference of coding. I get it though.
You're
not
they
wrong.
Can do it.
So,
they can do it. It's flipping the switch. All they gotta do.
Jake, what would you like to talk about? What news would you want to cover?
You want me to be positive or negative?
I want you to be. Let's whatever will engender discussion. How's that? We'll move the discussion along.
So I'd say I think Alchemy, and I said this on the Discord. Alchemy was a little bit of Wizards kind of spitting in its customer's face with the "you're gonna play Historic the way we want you to play Historic."
I kind of agree with you there.
Oh, on that tone, Eternal players like Matt and I kind of got spit in the face a little bit when they told us that Unfinity was going to go ahead and be legacy legal.
Ooh,
and
good point.
We had
good point.
On WotC coming out and saying we're going to print a joke set with joke cards, and we're going to put them in the joke formats like Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Pauper.
Well, I mean, luckily it's not every card in Unfinity, but
right.
I totally see your point.
Yes.
For me, like, it's confusing because the unsets have been silver bordered for forever, and now they're not. And now, in order to see whether or not your card is a joke card or a legit card, you got to look for the acorn at the bottom where the hollow foil stamp would be. But if it's not a rare, it's going to show up just as a little marking on the bottom where the hollow stamp would be. I mean, it's like it feels too busy for something that should be simpler to figure out.
And Morrow even said, he's like, ideally we would have done silver border for joke. He's like, but printing was the problem. And I get that.
I can understand that.
I can too, because you program your print machine to say,
And I can understand one of the reasons why they're doing it, because they're saying, look, we were printing these sets, and some of the cards that are uncards really aren't all that much of a stretch to say this card could be a legit card somewhere else. Now, the one card that they did preview, which one was that? The Saw in Half. that card's broken.
And it's going to be legacy legal?
Yeah. That
Oh,
card's
great.
legacy legal. Destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, a controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power is half of that creature's power, and their base toughness is half, rounded up each time. I mean, do you remember Grey Merchant of Asphodel?
Well, you just evoke that Stone
Or
Age and it's infinite.
yeah.
Like it was spoiled, and 5 minutes later there was an infinite combo at instant speed. Like, and that's one card. We have half of a set full of cards that aren't going to fit with the flavor, although Magic doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't have its own flavor anymore, which is one of the reasons why I think they're doing this. Like, if you're playing Legacy, by the end of 2022, you're going to have Lord of the Rings, Warhammer, Walking Dead, Street Fighter,
Stranger Things, Fortnite.
Yeah, Stranger Things. So, like, Magic is losing its identity, in my opinion. So, like,
Ooh.
this is just another, like, nail in the
That's
coffin.
your news item. We're going to put the pin in that.
Well, I think. Well, here's the thing too. I think, on the one hand, totally valid point. Totally valid point. I do like that they went back on what they were saying before, like with the Walking Dead Secret Lair, how they originally were saying we're not going to make mechanically unique cards and then reprint them somewhere else. They're gonna make these cards work.
Well, they're
somewhere
doing that
else.
for some of them with the Secret Lair, but they're not
Right.
going to reprint the entire Lord of the Rings set as a separate set.
No, yeah,
with
no,
Magic.
that's
You know
its
what I
own
mean?
thing, which I
So,
think.
like,
Ugh,
Yeah, we won't have to play as Rick Grimes. We'll play as, Magic
You're-
flavored dude or whatever.
yeah,
But,
you're still
like,
stuck with Gandalf and Frodo.
Right. I'm going to be like multi-kicking people with Chun-Li here in 6 months, and they should literally give her multi-kicker. By the way, if they
They
give her
are.
card to
That
people-
was said. That was actually, they're like, oh, and she will have multi-kick. I'm like, and she should. And for that, I'm okay. I've got Apollo in here, by the way, guys, because he's had his hand up for a while. Apollo, what do you got for us?
What do you want me to chime in on? You passed through a couple topics I wanted to chime in on.
Whatever you agree with me personally on.
Yes. And whatever you disagree with Aramis on.
So I'm gonna have to. So with regards to alchemy, I have to agree and disagree a little bit with everyone. So I
Oh.
agree with Aramis in the fact that I think it should have been separated from historic. 100%.
Everybody says that, yeah.
Because I stopped playing standard in Eldraine, and I fell in love with historic brawl. That's all I play anymore.
Yeah.
I
mean,
that
that decision seemed like the no-brainer of the year, right?
Yeah. That being said, I do like a lot of the cards, and I think some of them are not as invasive as they might seem, if that makes sense. Like the seek mechanic, I feel like it correlates to Hearthstone a little bit. I actually played Hearthstone before. I
It
played
does,
Magic.
and that's the problem a lot of people have with it. But
Well, yeah, that's the problem a lot of people. I think it's, I don't want to say fine, but I think it's not as invasive as one might think.
okay.
For me, it's less the mechanically unique cards. It's more the adjusted cards and me not having the option of playing the card as it was printed.
Right.
Oh yeah, exactly. So the adjusted cards, I think you should have the opportunity to play them as they existed, especially in historic. That's like the whole point of,
That's my
Yes.
big
of
problem.
historic.
That's my big
So you're not disagreeing with Aramis. Very good.
No, that's what I said. I said I agree with Aramis. What I was saying is I like a lot of one of the things I do like about alchemy is a lot of the mechanically unique things.
Right.
So with regards to the Unfinity set, I know nothing with regards to Unfinity and how it pertains to Legacy, although I do very much like those 4-art space lands.
Yes, of
The
course.
lands were great.
Yeah, the
Those are
lands.
fucking
See, I
gorgeous.
was
And then,
tricked
but what
a
they're
buddy of
doing
mine
with
sent
them
me
is
those
the problem.
spoilers. Yeah.
What are they doing with them? What did I
So
miss?
the basic lands are going to show up in packs.
Mhm.
The shock lands, they're going to show up in there's going to be one as a box topper, and the other ones will show up one every 24 packs.
So you're going to get only one really in a box.
Basically one per box, 2 if you count the box topper and you get lucky.
Right.
These aren't even that like expensive of cards. Like
They're
shotguns
not,
are
but-
like $10.
No, that
But
makes me
these
upset.
versions of them are going to be expensive because they're like there's going to be a very very good market for them. Like I want these, but I'm not
Right.
going to, they're going to be expensive.
And then, of course, they'll make them a secret lair. So, all right.
True.
All right, Apollo, I'm going to put you back in because we got Grunt and a few other people that really want to say something here. And and I moved him, and I think he was talking. Now that was the Howard Stern moment.
Cut off.
Go ahead, Grunt. What do you got? And you're muted. You're still muted. There's a mute icon. You're killing the show, Grunt.
Hey,
there you go.
I know. I tend to do it. Just with regards to MTG Arena, it's like I don't mind the little things like rebalancing cards. I don't mind actually having a little bit of a Hearthstone aspect because there are some things that I'd like to do in Arena that is physically impossible in Paper Magic. But
Right.
just having everything under this Magic blanket, it turns me off
Right.
completely.
And I get that completely.
Yeah, so like not so basically like you were saying, it's like it's not really having the choice to play with them or not. It's like you have to use them.
Yeah.
Is that what you're kind of saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like off it pretty much.
Yep.
So
Very cool.
Yankees.
Let me
wasn't
move you to
crazy
the audience.
upset
Go
when
ahead,
they
Jake.
announced Alchemy. Like Alchemy wasn't really for me. I don't like Alchemy, and I didn't read the whole announcement, so I read that and I was like, oh, Alchemy, whatever, I don't care. And then like 3 days later, I saw on Reddit that it affected my historic collection, and that's when I drew the line. I
Yeah,
don't
and then-
care if Alchemy exists. That's fine.
Yeah, Alchemy's
Why-
fine.
That whole like this product's not for you, but you're telling me I have to play with it.
Right.
Yeah, this product is for you, whether you like it or not.
Yes, exactly. And now our producer Jamie is back.
Just with the whole alchemy thing, though, it's like you're rebalancing cards to make standard appeal to the competitive players, but you don't have the competitive play for people to play with. You go and make historic and everything else on Arena. I don't play Arena at all, sorry guys. But it's like just when I heard about
You're not alone
rebalancing,
anymore.
it's literally like we're giving it players this format for people to go and be competitive. We're keeping the meta fresh. We're changing it. We're making it always work. But then, okay, well, what's the point of grinding it out? It's
Right.
just good fun to sit there, watch, and see what they do. But like same with the unsets as well. I mean, just with what you were saying there, JVA. The legacy players, the modern players, at this point, Wizards doesn't have a problem kicking us because there's still people that show up for the queues.
Exactly.
I mean, they could literally do whatever they want, and people will still show up for the leagues. I mean, they know that they've got an enfranchised fan base here that are willing to play, regardless of the spitting in the faces. It just goes to show that some of the people in the Magic community actually enjoy that.
Right.
But
Good point.
nonetheless.
All
Yeah,
right.
like, there's enough diehard that like it'll happen no matter what.
There is at least some line. Back this year, we saw two like kind of things along that line happen. One, there was a preliminary in Pauper, which people registered a bunch of basic land decks in order to get Wizards' attention to deal with the affinity problem everywhere. And two, in Legacy, the Saturday challenges aren't firing. Like they are actually messing it up to the point where people are starting to stop playing, even though they are like hooked in. They've,
I mean,
you know,
we're
they've got
talking
Magic
like
coursing through their blood, and they're like, no, I'm just not going to play this week.
I think like 10 weeks in a row we haven't had a Saturday challenge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah.
That
it's a
actually is
shame.
big stuff.
I mean,
So-
Magic Online is the only place that a lot of people can play Legacy because Legacy is pricey.
So
Very
let's
pricey.
talk about Nihape. What did or Matt? What did you what were you going to talk about there? You had something. I was like, let's put a fork in that because that's a good topic. Because we're getting down towards the end. We're at about an hour and a half here. So
It was mainly just, in my opinion, one of the things that made Magic the game it is today is its lore and the flavor of the cards, and they're losing that with all the universes beyond stuff. So like,
right.
I don't know how. There's a lot of people like me, I'm sure, who've been playing since for 25 years or whatever. Who they grew up with the crew of the Weatherlight,
Yep.
and they went through that whole story, and like we're bouncing back and forth
Gatewatch, yeah.
between planes after planes. So like even within the Magic setting, you go from Kaldheim to Strixhaven to Innistrad from like Throne of Eldraine. Like you spend a month on these planes. Half the mechanics are half baked. You don't actually get to like every one of those sets. I couldn't name like 10 cards from them. Like because
Wow.
they're forgettable because we're just going from plane to plane to plane to plane. We don't spend
Yeah.
any time there. And now we're going to take that and layer on top of it other IPs. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, this is not sustainable. Like Magic's history is one of the things that keeps it going, and we're losing that.
Parkman said
Literally, as we
something.
speak.
Parkman said something in chat. I brought him in because I want him to say it. Like what? Parkman, what did you just type in the chat?
I put in, has WotC become the WWE We do whatever we want, even pissing our customers Cheerios, because we know they'll keep letting us do it.
Yeah.
Nice Vince McMahon, by the way.
That's what Revs was just talking about. Is these things keep happening and people keep playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love Magic. I've been playing it forever. Realistically, there's no way I'm going to stop playing. But people do need to at least vote with their wallets and refuse to buy the stuff that they just, like, I'm not buying these cards. Not going to happen. Those shock lands are some of the best looking lands they've printed in a decade, and I just won't own them because I'm not going to support this product.
I mean, if you're gonna it's the type of thing where if you're gonna get them, you get them from your local game store as a single, because then you're supporting your local game store, but not buying the product directly. So WotC's not getting that share of the pie. But I agree with you in a certain sense with the sort of the dilution of the IP with Universes Beyond and everything else. On its face, I don't have that much of an issue with Universes Beyond. I have an issue with Universes Beyond when it's not a secret lair.
Right.
When you don't have the option of it. It's the same thing with Alchemy.
Right.
I have no problem with it as long as I have the option not to get it if I'm not interested. Like, I like the idea of cards from Lord of the Rings, but make it a secret lair where I can say, okay, I want these particular cards, but now if they print like a staple for Commander and it's from Lord of the Rings, well, I guess I have to buy Lord of the Rings cards now.
And here's the thing. I really believe this is a Hasbro thing. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm going to say it again. We are dealing with the company that took a classic game that everybody owned in their house for generations, Monopoly. And can anybody name less than 15 versions of Monopoly off the top of their head?
It's literally just the same thing.
There's a Wizard of Oz Monopoly. There's a Stranger Things Monopoly. There's a how soon until there's a Magic? There'll be a Magic. There's a My Little Pony.
Monopoly.
Yeah, there's Star Wars Monopoly. Try to go find Monopoly.
But the difference, the thing about this is where this is sort of ties into what we're talking about. It could be all these different versions of Monopoly, but it's still regular Monopoly. You can still go and get regular Monopoly, and it all plays the same way.
Right.
What's happening here is that it's still Magic, but now the only way to get this particular version is to get the Lord of the Rings version, which is a different thing.
Look,
So
I can get behind LOTR. Lord of the Rings. All right, let's face it, guys. We wouldn't be here without Lord of the Rings. I can get behind that. Yeah, I can get behind Lord of the Rings. You know what? Absolutely. They should make a Lord of the Rings set. It should be legal in some sets. I can get behind that. Now, if they come out with a Marvel superhero set, now I got a problem.
Yeah, but where is the line with that though? Because there's no getting around it, because these should have been, the set should have been done like the Godzilla cards.
Yes.
Make a regular set, make a collector booster version that's all Lord of the Rings stuff over the top of it, but it's still a regular Magic card because you're crossing the streams.
I'm okay with that stream being crossed though, because Lord of the Rings is baked into Magic. Okay, there's no way it's not.
The problem there is everyone has their thing like that.
Yeah.
So you're okay with Lord of the Rings.
But I hate Lord of the Rings. I don't like it.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, if you can excuse that one, there's millions of Magic players. They're all going to have their excuse for one of these products.
The Warhammer Commander decks that are coming.
So
yeah, Warhammer's where I'm like, okay.
Because to me the only one, and I'm not even a huge fan of it. The only one that made any sense was the D&D one.
Right.
Like, at least with Lord of the Rings, there's 2 degrees of separation. Like, D&D is owned by WotC. Like, okay, cool. I don't like it, but we're going to do this, and that's unavoidable. But I don't know. As soon as you excuse one, there's no reason to not have the other.
I mean, it's basically the same thing as Marvel coming out with a DC movie.
Yeah. Which I still want to see Marvel versus DC. Anyway, let's do this. So, Aramis, I mean, I've kind of brought up like Arena, and Jake brought up the unset. What news item would you want to talk about? Best or worst of 2021?
How about we talk about the competitive play lack thereof?
Look at that! I dangled that right there.
I kind of knew that's where you wanted me to go.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. You take this, my brother.
The news about competitive play after this year is crickets. We don't know. They're not saying anything, and that scares the hell out of me because they're phasing out the MPL, which ended up being a gigantic disaster. the Rivals League is going away too. There's, obviously the pandemic has a lot to do with it. There hasn't been a lot of in-store play. There haven't been any big events in nearly 2 years, say for Magic Fest Vegas. What was it called? Like the Las Vegas, the Gathering, or whatever.
Yeah,
it was called.
did we ever get any feedback from that? How'd it go?
I heard it was a success. I heard it did really well. I don't think there was a big COVID spike out of it, which was fantastic.
But now, I mean, we can't do anything. I mean, Omicron.
Yeah, Omicron's running around, and I'm not going to be going to my local game store to play unless it's honestly. I know we're sponsored by Kerwin's here, but flights they make sure their patrons are vaccinated or they can't come in.
Right.
So if I'm going to go to an in-store event, it'll probably be flights for now until I know that Omicron has calmed down. But that being said,
I miss Kerwin's.
Yeah, organized play has been a disaster for the last couple of years. This season of the MPL is a complete lame duck. I don't think anybody really cares what happens this year. There's also no direction as to what is going to be happening after the MPL and the Rivals League go away. And it sucks because for me, my dream has always been to play in one of these big tournaments, like a Pro Tour, like to qualify for one of these things. I have zero path to that. I have had zero path to that for the last few years because I don't stream enough to get an invite to the Rivals League. I am not already one of the, elite 32 or however many there are that can just show up and they get their little contract and are off to one of these tournaments. There's no qualifying circuit anymore to speak of unless you grind an arena, which I think is just a hellscape for the way the competitive scene is handled there. And we've heard nothing from Wizards about what the future is going to hold, and that scares me because I really think, like what you were saying, is that Wizards is going to go, you know what? We tried this. You don't like the way we changed it. We're done. We're not going to do it anymore. You want a big tournament? Go talk to Star City Games.
And I think that's going to be a net win. I think that's going to be a net win.
It'll be a net win for the community, but the problem is that it shouldn't have taken. They shouldn't have had to do that if they had just listened to the player base in the first place and kept things the way they were.
Right.
Or at least fix the system that was there. Kept the pro points, kept the players club, kept your DCI number,
Right.
Keep Pro Tour qualifiers, keep Grand Prix, make the Grand Prix feed into Pro Tours so that you don't have to win one. You could top 8 and still get a qualification. It's
right.
It's impossible for someone like me to get to that scene now. And I feel like the window that I had for my dream is closed.
It has.
I would say the combination of WotC gutting pro play, trashing Worlds this year in borderline an illegal fashion.
Yeah.
And offloading MTGO to a new company is a good indicator that they are moving away from non-profitable parts of their company.
Or just they're moving away not from non-profitable, because I think there's profit. They are
enough.
Here's the thing. I'm okay with them narrowing their focus. I've read Steve Jobs' autobiography, and one of the things he talks about there, and he's right, is that what he did when he came back to Apple was they had like all of these products, which not many of you will remember Apple in the 90s. But Apple in the 90s was just an entire crap show because they had the Newton and they had the 2E and they had the iMac or the Mac. They had the Mac and they had this and that. And they had so many products and they were so wide that they couldn't make a profit on anything. They couldn't focus. And Steve Jobs comes in and he goes, okay, we're going to have the iMac and we're going to have the PowerBook. That's it. And then he started with the iPod. And then he had 3 products. He's like, okay, we have the iPod and then the iPhone. And he kind of focused there. And it made Apple profitable.
He was also a giant asshole.
Oh, yeah, he was. If you read his autobiography, it's incredible. But he was a jerk.
Person.
No. But he went there. He actually talked to Google. And he's like, look, you're doing this and this and this and this and this. And even Google took his advice and Google got more profitable. All right. I think there is something to be said for taking your company and diluting it down to its essence. Now, that being said, I don't know that I like where the essence is going.
Yeah, they're not focusing on the right thing.
They're not focusing on cards. They're not focusing on card mechanics. They are realizing it's not profit margin. It's quick profit margin. It's arena. Arena is disposable profit in that it's constantly going to bring you back to the well because they're maintaining standard rotation but they're also if you think about it, you don't own, even like fake own like MTGO, you don't own anything in Arena. Nothing.
Exactly.
They have changed your historic cards without your okay, and yet you spent your wild cards on historic. So they like
to procure cards is increased.
Yes, they love that. Okay, that is good for them. I'm okay with the company maximizing profits because it keeps them there. I think what we're seeing is a dilution and so I think pro play, to bring it back to Aramis, is what this is. I think them washing their hands of pro play is to say, you know what, we don't have a Monopoly League. We don't have a Yahtzee League. We have, people that do leagues around this, and they run it themselves. And so now they're going to push this, mark my words, they're going to say, we're not doing anything, and then all of a sudden Star City Games or Channel Fireball are going to come out and say, but we are. And they're going to work with them to try to partner with that to transition it to there. And I trust Star City Games and Channel Fireball far more than I trust WotC right now. So this is a net win. I think there will be a pro thing, but I think the pro thing is going to be run by the big box Magic stores, which are Star City and Channel Fireball. And that's going to come with its own problems. They're going to get too big for their britches. They're going to change how things are done. There are going to be things that we're not going to like about that because they're going to get too big. But that being said, I don't know how upset I am that Hasbro's getting out of the Magic Pro business because I don't think they were good at it. They weren't good at it.
Yeah, but you also weren't a competitive player, though.
You know what? I had no competitive aspirations because I'm a 47-year-old, 48. Oh God, I'm 48.
But it hits differently depending on what your aspect is. If you don't have skin in the game, as it were, it's not gonna hit you as hard. Like for me, I've been to PTQs, I've been to Grand Prix,
and I have too. It's just not my focus. I would go. Sorry, go ahead.
No longer manages pro play. What incentive does WotC have or Hasbro have to print balanced cards that promote a fun and interesting pro play format?
Absolutely none. But that's what Alchemy's about.
That's why I want WotC and Hasbro to be in the pro play game, because then they have an interest in pro play being fun.
And they're also a stakeholder in that regard, because they can be held accountable for a format that's not working. I mean, like there's no recourse because Standard has been terrible. Here's Alchemy. We'll just balance the cards later.
I think WotC wants to. Right.
They can print 3 Ragavans in a set, and it don't matter because they're not the ones who are losing money on their tournaments not firing.
Real quick though, if Wizards divests themselves of the pro scene, why do we need to give a shit about what their ban list is?
Right. Actually, we will probably, you'll see Fireball and Star City Games make a ban list.
Right. Because if Channel Fireball is now doing the Pro Tour, guess who gets to pick what's on the ban list? Channel Fireball. And they will have a vested interest in banning shit.
And they will do it better.
Far more.
Well,
hopefully
that remains
a
to be
little more
seen.
pro-addict.
Right.
I think it'll be a situation where they won't run the tournaments. They will advise the tournaments, and they will say, "Listen, Channel Fireball, Star City Games. We will sell you the rights to do this.
Right.
You'll get a cut of a revenue stream for this, and it'll be great for them in the long term. The caveat will be, you keep this ban and restricted list, you keep the formats the way we want.
I don't think they'll care. I don't think they'll care. I think they're gonna, when they hand it off, I think Hasbro is gonna be like, we want to print cards, we want to sell them on Arena, and we want to sell them in paper. That's what we want to do. We want to be a supplier.
Maximizing profits to spite the customer base only works for so long.
Right. But that's the business they're in. Okay, they have been short-sighted now for the last 5 years. And
that's my big fear.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the right way, but I think that's where they're trying to go. Every writing on the wall I see says the same thing. They want out of the pro business. They want out.
Somebody with between $5,000 and $10,000 invested in shiny pieces of cardboard.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. So let me do this because that's kind of our news, and we're getting up to the 2-hour mark, and I really want to bring in, I want to give everybody a chance to kind of share what their 2021 review, like their last thing, because these guys have been hanging out. So I'm just going to go right across. I'm going to start with Bama. And I'm going to bring Bama in, and feel free to choose not to. But I'd love to have you come in and just tell us, what you think of 2021 Magic as a whole. We're going to start wrapping things up here. So, and all right. So come on in, Bama. What do you got?
It was congested. Move on.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was a fire hose coming out of your face and you're trying to drink from it.
Too much.
You know what? I'm going to open the whole floor. That's what I'm going to do.
No. Bad idea.
This ends horribly. I'm inviting everybody. I mean, I'll call on you each individually, but if you have something you want to say to somebody else, feel free. All right. So, Bama, you think that was just too congested?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
All right. What about you, Adam?
My biggest thing, honestly, was just the fact that I mostly play limited, and I really didn't like a couple of I think it was very up and down in limited. I think overall, I agree it was congested, and I think that the power level is a little silly in terms of limited.
Right.
Bomb driven.
I can get behind that. Right. All right. What about you, Grunt? What do you got? I don't disagree with you, my friend. Black Lake Lotus Eater, how about you, buddy? Cool. Well, paper. I get the feeling a lot of people are walking away from Arena. How about you, Apollo? What do you got for us? Who did? Golos did nothing. Golos didn't kill himself. No, wait, wrong guy. And what about you, Revs? What do you got for us, Jamie, our producer? Cool. Yes, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Right. I agree. Right. Finally, oh. Right. I was going to go to you next, Kyle. Yeah. Take out a loan. Well, programming note here. You're going to be playing Wednesday night along with my. It's my birthday week, so Wednesday's Commander Craft is Kyle and Bell, my co-hosts from Legends. Yeah, I'm gonna bust his chops on that one. He told us he's in, so I'm gonna be like, dude, I've been promoting you. So, all right, what about you there, Levi? What do you got? You've been quiet all night. Levi, and he remains quiet. Hello. Yes. Oh, no, wait. He's just speaking in the ultraviolet range. I'm a bat. I do hear what he's saying. He's saying Will is the most attractive guy he's ever seen. He's saying, wow, yes. And I'm funny. I'm the funniest guy he's ever seen. That's great. Kinetic, check on your mic. I'm going to go to Parkman. Parkmania, what do you got? Yeah. And I don't think you're wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong. And I do think there is something to too much product. Levi, did you get your mic fixed, my friend? That would probably be a no. I'm so sorry. Will, you're still amazing. Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes. All right. So I guess he's muting and muting. He's muting, mute, unmute, mute, unmute, mute, unmute. All right. Well, let's do this then. You guys have been hanging out with us all night long. Again, they were in the Discord, so if you guys were hanging out thinking you were going to be on the collector booster, I'm sorry, but I can only take the people that are in the Discord. If you're a patron and you've been here, you have 2 entries. But as you can see here, if you're watching the stream, I have a wheel already put up. I've got all the names in it. And Levi hopped out. And I'm going to spin the wheel. Levi, you counted. You're already in there, buddy. Don't you worry. I think I put Levi. Is Levi in there? Yeah, he's in there. Okay. So I'm going to spin this wheel. It's going to spin for 6 seconds, and the winner is the winner. I did randomize the list 6 times, though, so you can feel rando. Here we go. Here we go. Here it goes. Yeah? Yeah, you just did. You just did. Or do you think I should spin it again? You can make it a Winnabox. All right, let's spin it again. Revs, I'm going to pull you out because that's right. You're in the UK. I shouldn't have even put you in there. As much as I love that, I kind of want somebody to walk away with something. They did kind of sit here for 2 hours and listen to us yammer on. So let's shuffle the names again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're going to spin this wheel. We're going to get a winner tonight. All right, here we go. Wheel of Morality. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the lesson that we can learn. Kyle! No wonder you wanted us to spin it. Congratulations, Kyle. All right, Kyle. Yes, you won the die roll. Kyle, I'll get your address offline. This is it, buddy. Yes. And in fact, you should open it. He does stream, so all right. All right. Well, guys, you're all unmuted. Let's last thoughts before we go into our end step, and I'll mute everybody back. Anybody got anything they want to say that maybe they weren't able to, or of how wonderful we are? This is where you can tell us how great we are. Just saying.
One person trying to get in.
Oh, who's trying to get in? Oh, Kinetic, he wants in. Okay, invite Kinetic. Levi, what do you got for us, buddy?
Am I working?
Yes!
Yeah, I'm listening on my phone. I haven't tried to use Discord on my phone.
Whatever.
Okay, so a couple things. I've been getting more into Commander recently. I enjoy that a lot more than a lot of other formats.
We love having you, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Commander's just a lot more open, a lot more friendly, seems a lot less competitive, and it's just overall I feel like I have better games, whether it's one-on-one or multiplayer, it doesn't matter. I just kind of feel better after Commander games as opposed to a 60-card deck, whether it's standard, modern, whatever. That being said, they've been coming out with so many sets for Commander, so many precons, so much stuff, it's hard to keep up with. You know, you build a deck, want to get onto the next deck, by the time you're done with that deck, the deck you built before needs 4 or 5 more add-ins. They have to go back and throw in. I'm like, I just want a deck to be stable for like 2 or 3 sets. Come on, you know? I get 1 or 2 cards you could add in, but like,
Right.
if I'm building multiple decks, it makes it difficult. Anyway,
With 19 decks, I feel your pain.
I think it started with Zendikar too. I think when Omnath hit, Omnath was obviously a commander card, and then they made it part of the set. And when it hit, it became so damn popular. They're like, let's keep this going. So yeah, I think you're gonna see more of it.
And then on the other end of things, coming back to, you know, Arena, Standard, I don't even want to talk about Alchemy. I haven't turned on Arena since I heard about it. Literally, I heard about Alchemy, and I'm like, wow, man, I haven't even turned on Arena. Standard hasn't been right for me since Khans of Tarkir.
Wow.
Things have been
Hot take.
They've been. I miss when they put out 2 to 3 different blocks for a set, and it have a story to it. You know, and you'd remember the cards from it. Like, there's so many memorable cards from Khans of Tarkir, besides the fetch lands, you know? All the different dragons, all the different cons, like, there's just so much to it.
Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino, oh my god, I love Siege Rhino.
I remember Siege Rhino.
Oh my god, Siege Rhino was the bane of my existence in Standard. I refused to play Abzan.
And now it would be unplayable. But
you know,
and now it's nothing. And not only has Standard been, I don't want to say it's just like the power creep's been a thing. I don't mind the power creep, but it's been so inconsistent for so long.
I think it's been. I'm going to go the other way. We said this a few weeks ago. It's been too consistent because of Arena. They figure out Standard before it releases, and because Arena is built on running up the ladder. And guys, feel free to unmute and jump in as you want. This is open floor. That I think because of this, it's less fun. Because it's now all about just winning. And so they find that one deck that beats everything. And it used to be, there was always one deck that beat everything, but you had more fun playing other decks, and you might pull a win out, so you're like, let's just do this. It's, you spike, quote-unquote, spike a tournament. And that's where that term came from. Like, you win a tournament like Autumn Burchett when they won using mono blue tempo against a field of mono red that was just crippling. But mono blue tempo managed to pull it out. You're not going to see that anymore. And so you're not wrong. I hear what you're saying.
I agree with that in a way, but I disagree in a way with, I feel like they haven't been playtesting as much. I feel like they haven't been taking care of things. Otherwise, I feel like if they would have play tested things, Eldraine and Ikora wouldn't have been they wouldn't have been so groundbreaking.
They admitted there were mistakes made.
Yeah, Companion was a big mistake.
Oko was a bit of a mistake.
You think they would have noticed that ahead of time with the play testing that you hear that they do, you know? And I feel like it hasn't got better since then. I mean, they've took the power level back. I don't feel like they play tested it. Why else is 50% of the field freaking Epiphany decks?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not wrong.
No one saw it coming because they didn't test it properly. Oh, I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
My opinion.
You're probably not that wrong, because they've said they spend most of their time testing for Standard.
Right.
But if you think about it too, up until the rotation that just happened this past fall, they were testing Standard where Oko and Uro and all this nonsense was legal.
Yeah.
So when they turned the dial back, they didn't take into account what all of this other stuff was going to be like now that those banned cards are gone.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also a rumor floating around that the Oko Thief of Crowns that you saw in Throne of Eldraine wasn't actually the Oko Thief of Crowns that was playtested. Apparently a suit came in and said, we need the chase fill into the book to be a lot more powerful. So they had to quickly make some last minute changes, and that Oko was never playtested, according to rumor.
That sounds true. Yeah, that sounds true.
So you remember when I said goes with nothing wrong?
Yeah. Remember when
So,
you said
for
Golos
com-
did nothing wrong? Yes.
Yeah, Oko did everything wrong.
Yeah, Oko did everything. I mean, but then Omnath came along and said, "Who the hell's Oko?"
So, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out. We're at the 2-hour mark, so unless there's something else anybody's got, we'll go ahead and start heading ourselves to end step. Real quick shout outs or anything, quick takes. Got a few seconds. Go to town.
Thank you guys for doing the podcast.
Thank you. We'll keep doing
Thank
it.
you for doing the podcast. I had a blast hanging out.
Yes, we'll do this again. Don't forget now, Wednesday night, Commander Craft is supposed to be. Now, listen, guys, some of you be on standby. It's supposed to be Aramis and I and Kyle and Bell. It's basically because my birthday was Christmas Day. I was like, you know what? For my birthday week show, I want my co-hosts. So I did Legends TV Talk with Kyle and Bell. So
Hey, Will,
yeah.
I got your present right here.
No, you can't do Zakama. It's my birthday. We have to. These guys don't have that power level, dude. We're playing fun decks.
Okay, fine.
Hey, I'm playing a precon. So
Yeah,
that's what
I'm
going
playing
with.
the dog deck. Like, choose accordingly. But he's probably going to play his slime deck. So, listen, guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight and just being a part of things. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to go ahead and put you back in as we do our end step. But legit, this has been an amazing night. And the Cantrip, let me now say to the Cantrip Cartel guys, you guys are fantastic. Was really great doing this with you. Where can people find you on the web?
Check us out, anchor.com/Cantrip Cartel. Send us an email at
Anchor.
cantripcartel@gmail.com.
I think
Hit us
it's-
up on Twitter at Cantrip Cartel. Check out our Discord page on the Planestalkers podcast Discord.
I think it's anchor.fm/Cantrip
It is.
Cartel. You said .com.
.fm.
Yeah,
Like I said,
anchor.fm.
we are on pretty much all the big podcasters. Just search
Yeah.
Cantrip Cartel. We put stuff up every week, just like Will and Aramis.
Yes. Well, during the holidays, we told you guys, but we're going to go back to a regular schedule here come New Year's. Thank you guys again. I'm going to move you guys into the audience, and let's go to... All right. And as Aramis and I are rolling up our playmats, putting our cards back in the boxes, taking the pizza boxes over to the trash, because damn it, your mother still does not work here in this game store. We want to remind you guys that we both stream on Twitch occasionally. Just check it out at twitch.tv/Planestalker Podcast. And I don't have the docs up, so I'm doing this from memory. And we play other geeky games. And you can follow me on Twitch at Mindcrime73.
And if you'd rather interact with us in a more real-time fashion like a whole bunch of you guys did tonight, thank you so much for doing that.
Yes.
Join the Discord. We say it all the time. This is why, because it's a great community. Discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. Lots of great folks on there. You can
There's a
see,
lot of deck help. The deck help channel's getting a ton of use. You need to be on Discord yourself more, sir, because you're better at that than I am.
A lot of good channels in the Discord. You want to see stuff about our show. You want to see stuff about our sister show, Cantrip Cartel. Discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. You can find everything you need related to both of our shows there. If Twitter is more your speed and you want to follow us on Twitter, we will tweet when we go live. We also tweet if there's something earth-shattering that we want to share with the rest of the world at PlanestalkerPod on Twitter.
And my personal Twitter is at WR Benson. I don't tweet there that often. I tend to follow, acts and things that I'm really into, like Celine Dion. Her voice is just so soothing. And of course, you can also follow us on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/Planestalker. There's no S at the end. Some airplane enthusiast took that. But facebook.com/Planestalker. Like and follow the page there. And don't forget, Wednesday nights we have our other show, Commander Craft, where we play Paper Commander live. Tune in on any of our channels, Wednesdays around 7 Eastern. Like I said, this week's kind of a special birthday show. Aramis and my former co-hosts from Legends TV Talk, Bell and Kyle, are going to take me to school. So tune in there, 7 Eastern, Commander Craft. Tell your friends.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of paleontology.
Yeah. No, it isn't. It's my birthday. I am calling a rule, no Zakama. No Zakama. I played it last week, and Dave banned it.
What? Only because it cost 19 mana and I had absolutely no problem casting it. Yeah, if you guys didn't catch that episode, I mean, the audio sometimes is a little bit squirrely because we were live in store, but great show. Go find it on YouTube and Twitch,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. But anyway, if you want to finally send us an email, talk about the show, maybe you have a suggestion for a topic, you have a question for one of us, anything you want. There are 3 email addresses you can use to get in contact with the show. The first one goes to both of us. It is podcast@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you want to talk to Will directly and tell him that he just needs to just, sit back, accept the fact that Zakama's going to come and step on his face, it's will@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email me and tell me how awesome it's going to be that I'm going to be playing Zakama on Wednesday, it's aramis@planestalkerspodcast.com.
And really, finally, don't forget, we have just joined the Geek to Geek Media Network. You can find out more about that, as well as catch a whole bunch. I mean, dude, they do D&D stuff over there. Like, they do live D&D and roleplay stuff. geektogeekmedia.com. That's geekmedia.com. Tons of really cool stuff over there. So on that note, we cannot thank you guys enough for hanging out on our call-in show tonight. Yes, we went 2 hours. So thank you very much for being with us. We will be back next Monday with our regular show, as well as Wednesday night for Commander Craft. So for Will Benson and for Matt and Jake from Cancer Cartel, for Aramis Perez, this is Will Benson saying thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being a part of things. We will see you next week. And just have an awesome week and have an awesome New Year's. We'll see you soon. Take care. And thank you to everybody who hung out with us. So have a good week. Bye-bye now. And now I'm going to bring everybody back in so they can talk with us, because we're in the post show now.
That was a ton
It
of
was
fun.
so cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so very, very much. And I mean, we're still streaming right now, but this is not going to be what goes on the podcast. So feel free to say whatever you'd like. And yeah, wow, that was so much fun.
Hey, Will, do you want some deck tech to make a certain dinosaur extinct?
Yes,
Go away.
absolutely.
Let me just say, move to audiences. Where's that button? Right there. It is. Don't you dare.
He's not playing it because I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
the
I'm
pre-cons
not.
could not hang.
No, I'm busting your balls. I know you have PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy last week. If you didn't watch it last week, guys, you have to. So, guys, I can't thank you guys enough. This was so cool. Oh, and Kinetic raised his hand. He left, and then he wants to come back. Yeah. So,
You guys going to be doing the pre-cons and fighting for the Emperor and for the Ruinous Powers when it eventually drops? Or
absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think we're going to do a pre-con show in like the last week of January. Of any pre-con, because I've gotten a lot of feedback that they like the pre-con shows because it lets people who don't have tuned decks kind of hang out. So actually last week, Dave gave us a whole crate of stuff. And one of the things was pre-con. There were like 3 pre-cons in there. And I basically said to Aramis, choose one, because he tears his pre-cons apart. So I'm like, choose one. Just choose one.
I mean,
don't tear it apart.
I'm building 32 decks, so
Yes.
anytime I get a pre-con, I'm like, I need this card, I need this card, I need this
So
Will, get us
he
on those sponsorship deals. My goodness.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys, you're good at what you do.
So when we did that pre-con for Innistrad, that was fun because we got to do all 4 of the decks.
Yep,
that was
and that's
great.
what-
And when you guys did the second show, you guys switched it up, right?
Yes. So this one will be open to any pre-con that anybody has going as far back as they want it to go. Maybe not Atraxa. Maybe we should say like the last 5 years.
Well, I mean, Atraxa out of the box probably isn't as scary as,
No, that's
as
true.
tuned Atraxa.
Yeah.
It's probably still terrifying.
So, but keep that in mind, and that's going to be, I think I might keep that a patron show. I might keep that as patrons still get first dibs. I like pre-cons when the release is, like opening it wide, but I really feel like I want to give patrons more bang for their buck. So I think that'll still stay patrons get first shot. So Levi, thank you for hanging, man. I feel bad for your bike stuff, man. That was because Levi's been one of our go-tos for Commander Craft. And again, I'm not kidding. Like, I haven't gotten a hold of Bell this week. We might need a 4th, just FYI. And if we do, I'm going to be really pissed off. It's my birthday, damn it. I set this up a month ago.
You did.
So
You
it's
did.
for you guys.
What's that, Apollo?
I actually really like the pre-con fights. Do you ever consider doing just an upgraded pre-con fight too?
I think a lot of our decks are upgraded precons. Upgraded maybe for land. I think we did that once or twice. We were in the early days of Commander Craft. One of the things we did that I really liked that we haven't done in a while, we did artisan. Like you took a precon and made it artisan, so you could have commons or uncommon. Yeah.
We picked the only card in your deck that could be rare was the commander.
Right.
The rest of the deck had to be commons and uncommons.
Nice. And those were fun, interesting.
As far as upgraded precons, my Kadena deck is essentially an upgraded precon.
Right.
We should do proxy allowed.
You're not wrong.
We should do proxy allowed CEDH.
Oh.
My entire deck would be a proxy.
Yeah, and I feel like that's out there. I think like I Hate Your Deck kind of gets very close to that, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Like I like the fact that we kind of keep the tagline that we've had for the show. I mean, guys, that's just it. Part of why I'm doing this, and we didn't mention it in the broadcast, which we should have. Like Aramis and I put this show together 4 years ago at Christmas. Like we're entering year 4 in January. And first of all, holy cats, thank you. I can't say it enough. But beyond that, I mean, when we first started this, go back and listen. Our whole catalog's still in our podcast feed. The early shows were fun, but you could see us kind of building it where I don't know, I think it was episode 5 or 6 where I came up with the tagline "By Casuals, for Casuals," and that's been our thing. So CEDH is so not a casual format that I would feel kind of like we're starting to pull away from what kind of defines the show. Now, you guys, on the other hand, like, Cantrip Cartel, when you go into a playcast, if you ever get there, hell yeah, go CEDH, because that's what you do. Legacy is not a casual format. But, I don't know. I mean, thoughts, guys. I mean, this is kind of turning into like a round table, but I'm cool with it.
You could do like a CEDH, but allow like a certain amount of proxies or something.
Yeah,
one of the nice things about the CEDH community is it's actually based entirely around proxies.
Yes.
Nobody has time twisters and shit like that are legal in EDH. It's all about just maximizing the best the game can be rather than who has the bigger wallet.
Right.
Yeah, I need to play some CDH over there because over here it's you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
So my CDH deck is literally built with what I could muster. Essentially everything minus the duels because I didn't want to pay that for.
I was gonna say, are you married by any chance, Jamie? I gotta ask this question because
yeah, I'm actually also painting a Warhammer army as well as we're doing the podcast.
So you must have literally the best wife, because if I went to my wife and said, I'm going to need $10,000 to build a CED to start, not build, to start a CEDH deck.
For a CEDH deck.
I got to tell you, I'd be shot. Like
I'm gonna need a City of Traders. I need an Ancient Tomb. I need 10 duels. 10
You're gonna need
land.
Gaia's Cradle. Yeah.
Gaia's Cradle. Oh my God, Gaia's Cradle. I still kick myself. I had one. And I fucking died.
I was actually a lucky story. I got my Gaia's Cradle from a guy who needed a month's rent. And he gave me the Gaia's Cradle.
That's great. That's great.
And then it tripled in price, so I thought, I made the right decision there.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
And plus, he had a roof over his head. So
yeah,
that's a win-win. That's a win-win right there.
Oh, God!
Totally you never get rid of reserve list.
Cardboard.
So,
if they do, I mean, I've just been amassing as reserve list cards right now. I mean, I think I'm up to like not mental amounts, but like 7 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, more fastlands, honestly. Like artifact ramp, that's kind of it. But then I just the cheat sort of thing, like with the blank cards and Battle for Zendikar, I just use them as like in my deck box. I've got a whole load of them that just writes out the commander and what it is. So
right.
When I showed my friend, he was a little bit less than amused. Every black deck had a full suite of tutors plus the Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal. I mean, I also had to sell out some of my foil modern decks. That was fun.
The amount of ridiculous stuff I had from Urza's block that I looking back, it's like, I had a Grim Monolith, I had a Palinchron, I had, the Time Spiral, I had Gaia's Cradle, I had Tolarian Academy. And it's like, motherfucker, if I had known, there's no way I would have known, but if I had known, I would have not gotten rid of those cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they were like $5-10 when I got rid of them, and now it's like, oh, guys, Cradle $1,300. Oh, great.
I hear those stories, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm being punished for not playing Magic until 2016.
You are.
You would've
Go with
sold
that.
them too.
Go with that.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm
The
being
vast
punished for
majority of
playing.
people have those stories where they played back then and they sold their dual lands like me for $50 a pop, and then they shot up to $600.
That's what I did too. Same with me.
Because there was, like, when they were stable for so long, there was no way to predict that they're gonna like.
And ironically,
it
the
would
format
be
that
what
did
they
it
were.
was the one we've been talking about. It was Commander that did it.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you again. I can't. Wow. This has been great. We're going to do this. We'll probably do this again in 25 weeks. So we'll probably do it again for episode 150. Unless something huge comes up. If somebody comes up and says we should do another call-in show for any particular reason, I'm down.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty epic. But yeah, I like the idea of doing another one of these sooner rather than later.
All right. Well, maybe
Matt and I
we'll
didn't get
talk
to
about
during
that.
the show.
You didn't what?
So Matt and I didn't get to during the show, but we also are like super appreciative of the Planestalkers community. Everyone doesn't listen to us, I'm sure, and I don't expect everyone to. But
They should. You're a better show
The
than ours.
only-
I'm going to go on
The only
limb on
reason
that
we
one.
have any modicum of success is because you guys brought us in. You had a great community, and everyone on here, really helped support us in what ways they could and helped us get going. So
yeah,
obviously we're incredibly appreciative to Will and Aramis, but we are equally incredibly appreciative to every single listener on the Planestalkers podcast, either that listen to us or don't.
He's appreciative, but not financially. We could stand. Feel free to send a little cheddar our way.
Yeah, Will, how much did you spend on that collector's box?
Nothing. I was giving it actually.
Mr. Appreciative. I'll give away stuff too as soon as someone starts handing it to me.
Excuse me. I'm out there hustling, mother. I'm
Oh,
going out there. I'm talking to these game stores. I'm building relationships. What are you doing? You're riding my coattails. Wow.
This is why I'm bringing Zakama on Wednesday.
My back hurts from carrying your ass. No. I am kidding.
It's fine. It's a 9/9 dinosaur.
You know what? This is probably going to go into the audio as bonus material. I may just because we're still. I'll have this recorded. So this is great, guys. Thank you very much again. I'm going to stop the stream now. So for those of you still watching at home or anything, thank you very much for being fans of the show and hanging out. Have a good night, and thank you to all of our listeners. Bye.